What's up, fellow nerds? I'm Josiah.
I'm Nick.
We're friends.
We're playing Marvel Rivals.
We're friends and rivals. Oh man, well, I'm not entirely sure what that was, but here we are, everybody. Welcome back to Friends and Rivals, a Marvel Rivals podcast. Guys, we are on episode 10.
10. Double
10.
digits.
Double friggin' digits. That is an exciting benchmark.
Yep, and a perfect week to hit it too. We got crazy amounts of stuff going on this week, and I think it's going to be a fun episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. Season 2 is going to be, it's either going to be live when this episode goes live, and you can listen to this as a supplement to what you're experiencing in real time, or the servers will all be down and you can get hyped up by listening to episode 10.
All the stuff that's coming, yeah.
Yeah. So like Nick said, this is an action-packed episode today. We got a lot to cover. We're going to look at the Dev Vision. We're going to talk about Emma Frost, of course. Going to go over some team-ups. We're going to tease the balance patch a little bit and go over the Battle Pass, some general updates, all kinds of stuff. And then next week, we're going to do a deep dive into the balance patch notes, give our first impressions of Season 2, talk about the hero hot list, all that kind of good stuff. So don't worry, we're going to cover all the information that's out there right now. We won't be doing a hero spotlight for these next two episodes, and because we want to stay focused on this new hype. So with that being said, what's up, Nick?
Hey, so I don't know. Do you remember we were talking in the Vanguard episode a couple weeks ago about the pirate ship comp?
I sure do.
And we were missing a duelist and a strategist, and we were like, we'll figure it out. Okay,
yeah,
so
we had Groot, we had Namor, we had Punisher,
and Penny.
And Penny, yes.
Well, instead of Groot, we had Doctor Strange or Magneto to put up.
That's right, to hold
shield.
up a sail. Yeah, another sail.
All right. Well, our comment section on Spotify went to town on that episode and came up with the other two, and it's perfect. So I'm pleased to announce, by the power invested in me as person who looks at Spotify comments, well, one of two people who look at Spotify comments.
I've apparently I missed them.
Here we go. We have Doctor Strange or Magneto as your anchor tank sail on the pirate ship. Then you got Penny putting the mines in the front, or all over it, or whatever, right? And you got the Punisher turret cannon, right? Which is what spawned the whole thing.
Yep.
And then straight from the comment section, we got Namor with his squids adding on to just the firepower on this thing, especially now nasty. In season 2.
Oh my gosh! No kidding.
We had Loki there for that burst healing of the rings.
The rune.
No one dies. And then Invisible Woman was brought up for her shield as well.
Hold up a shield. Maybe you can push people away, pull people into it.
Exactly, and all the little piercing, heal, and damage from her auto attack, just going through the entire team, all standing on the pirate ship together. Could be pretty good.
Dude, imagine if her ults could be cast on a single point instead of just like the area. You just make an invisible pirate, just go ship build. Nobody knows where anything's coming from, and everyone's dying instantly.
That is the dream. Is you all go into the Invisible Woman ult on the payload when the enemy team's coming back from spawn. So they don't see you set up, and then the payload just comes out of the screen as a pirate ship all of a sudden, and you start firing the cannons. That would be glorious.
Oh man, anything to remind me of that.
Next time we get 6 people playing together on the Discord, we're going to try this. And it's 2-2-2. Like it legit.
Right.
Might work.
This is viable.
Even if the pirate ship doesn't work, then you can pivot, and this might work anyway.
Right. And with Penny and Namor getting some nice upgrades in this. It's going to be the meta season 2. Dude, I don't even think we need to. I don't even think we need to talk about our meta impressions later in this episode. Like, this is it right here.
Maybe this is the thing: is they buffed Penny and Namor because no one had discovered the pirate ship comp yet. And if we had unleashed this a couple weeks ago, they would have had to go, oh, we can't make them better. It's already too good, right?
Yeah. This can't happen. This can't happen. You threw me off for a second there by saying this is the thing. I was like, the thing's not in the pirate ship.
No,
But
he's not in the pirate ship.
anyway, we also, in addition to Spotify comments, we did get another review. So thank you for taking the time to do that. NC, I'm gonna say, I have to choose what letters I'm gonna pronounce as letters, and I'm gonna say NC Lasso. That's what I'm going with here. He gave us a 5-star review and said, "Lore Ep. Hey guys, love the show. I know it's asking a lot, but I was wondering if you could break down the lore of the game so far. I'm a late starter to the game, only been playing a few weeks, but absolutely love it." Well, Ncloso, you don't have to worry too much because we're still on season 1, so you're actually right on time to dive into all of this. Glad you found the game and you're enjoying it. Nick and I were talking about this a little bit about the lore. We've talked about it a little bit in a couple episodes, lore of the game and whatnot. But yeah, I think both of us have to do a much deeper dive, honestly, to prepare for this episode. But I think we'd like to do that. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in this version of the Marvel universe, and it's something that we'd like to cover for sure.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that as we get deeper into the catalog, that might be a topic that we pick, a couple times.
Yeah.
Give some updates on the story. The hard part about it is that there's so many different stories going on right now because all of the characters are in like groups of 3 or 4 or 2, and they all have their own stories that you have to read, and they're all actually like pretty long. Like they're full on short stories. They're not just little grimoire snippets or anything, So like it would take a lot of work, as you mentioned, and I think we'd like to do it at some point, but we're not there yet.
How dare you bash the Destiny grimoire?
I wasn't bashing it. I was just saying it wasn't 8,000 word short stories on every single page.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, cool. Well, you want to talk about a little bit of news before we talk about the lot of bit of news?
Yeah. Let's cover the news that doesn't fit into the season 2 stuff. All right, so before we get to an entire episode talking about news, here's some news. Because Yo Dog, I heard you like news.
Yep.
So we've got a cool promotion going on with Marvel Unlimited that they just released information about. So Marvel Unlimited is Marvel's digital comic subscription collection service kind of thing. It's like Netflix for comics kind of deal. And it's super cool. They've got thousands of comics on there. And right now they're going to do a deal where if you use the code "Here's the Thing,"
yes,
it's great. Before April 16th, I believe. Yeah, before April 16th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, you will get your first month free and unlock a free Thing skin that basically his shorts are the Marvel Unlimited colors. So it's like black, white, red, and blue. And I think it looks cool.
That's cool. He looks like he's ready to ball.
Yeah. And if you already are a Marvel Unlimited subscriber, they said that you will get the skin as well, too. So
awesome.
At some point, I think they said April 25th, you can log into your Marvel Unlimited and see the code on there to punch into the game and get your Thing skin.
Cool. Well, in addition to the Thing, we got some Twitch drops. This is going to have a Namor skin, his Will of Galactic costume, and it's a cool purpley, bluey like the rest of them. I feel like it fits Namor really well. I feel like it gives the like deep sea coral vibes, which look really cool. I like the Battle Pass skin that I'm using for him right now, but I could see myself running with this one.
It reminds me of the mer people in Sea of Thieves.
Yes,
there's like they have that blue purple
100%
going on.
100%. Dang, 2 Sea of Thieves references, and we're not even 10 minutes in. This is great. And then it's of course going to come with another Galactus spray and an emote. Now this hasn't been. It was in like the notes, but there hasn't been like a post about it yet, right? To see like
Right.
what the date is.
Yeah, they just said that they're gonna give more announcements. I forget where I found it. It may have been it may have been in the patch notes.
It
I
was in
think.
the
And
patch
then,
notes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
they haven't given dates yet, but I assume it's going to coincide with the beginning of season 2 or a little bit after.
Do you think that there is a unique Galacta spray for every single hero in the game?
There has to be, right?
Like, how many of
I don't
these do
know.
they have up their sleeve?
I
I
don't
can't.
know.
I can't wait to fill a full like emote spray ring with all different Galacta sprays.
That's what I was going to ask: is how many slots can you put on that? It's 16, right?
Is it
On
16?
the
Holy
wheel.
crap!
So after 16, what do we do? We're going to have to start putting our entire team on Galactus spray
Yeah.
duty.
And speaking of sprays and Marvel Rivals, this is one area of the game where I'd like to see them step it up. In Overwatch, I really enjoyed putting mustaches and band-aids and other things on top of other people's sprays, and I don't have enough of that content in this game yet. So
That's true. Yeah.
let's see it, devs.
There's not enough vandalism in the
Yeah,
spray
yeah.
catalog yet.
I
Yeah.
need more vandalism.
Well, we also have, with the new launch of the new hero Emma Frost, we have a skin coming out this week that I'm not going to react to, but I'm going to let I'm going to let my wife react to it.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
had
hey,
two
what a
reactions.
coincidence. Me too.
Yeah, she had two reactions on my behalf. The first one was, what? And then eventually, when she got over that, she had a very practical question about this outfit, which was that it doesn't seem very combat ready. And she said, and I quote, "That's just asking for wardrobe malfunctions left and right, literally."
You know, it's really
Left
about. Oh
and
my
right.
gosh. Yeah. It's really about asserting your dominance, Nick. It's to show when you expose all of your vital organs, you're basically saying, "I fear nothing. You cannot kill me." So take that back to her and let her know
I'll
that
let her
that's
know.
what it is. It's very lore. It's for the plot. You see, just like
I have a hot take about that in a second, but
okay.
let's get your
So
wife's reaction.
yeah. So my wife reacted first to just base Emma Frost. I showed her the reveal trailer, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, they put jiggle physics on her thighs."
Yes. Yeah.
And she was like, "Good job, thighs are jiggly." And then to this one, she referenced, so there's a YouTuber that we watch occasionally called Funky Frog Bait, and she recently did an episode that talked about like it like tied into some stuff with like costumes and skins and video games along these lines. And she was like, "Hey, like you have no room to talk about any of this stuff if you're playing with this skin from Marvel Rivals. You know which one I'm talking about." Like this one in the Malice skin. And yeah, we had a good chuckle over all that stuff.
All right. Well, before we move on, I have a hot take about this skin.
Oh boy.
And so
I'm
follow
feeling
me for a
sweaty
bit
already.
here. Let me let me cook a bit. This is gonna be a journey.
Oh
But
gosh.
the statements I've obviously seen online have been that this is the creme de la creme of Gooner skin, right? That's what everyone's saying.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, they may think it's for them, and Netties may make oceans full of money selling it to them, but it's not really for them. This is for people who truly want to become Emma Frost when they play her, who want to unlock her undocumented extra ability and third mutant power. Wearing this is 100% something that she would and has done in the comics. And if you have this skin, you gain the same advantage that she does. Now, this is not I see the way you're looking at me, Josiah.
Oh
This is
no.
not some Kojima. There's a lore reason for wearing this, and you're all gonna be so ashamed when you
Dang,
find out
dumping
she
on
has
my
to
boy
breathe through her
Kojima too.
skin level cope. Trying to justify this. I'm not trying to justify this, nor would I.
Will people be ashamed of their words and deeds when they realize the reason why?
Yeah. It's because she has to breathe. Uh, no. They know why they write her this way. No, but as I watched the streamer preview streams, and they all immediately grabbed this skin from the shop with their fake money and put it on.
Thick.
I I realized something. So
Hmm.
from the front, the skin is exactly what everyone's calling it is, right?
Yeah.
But from behind, my friends, from behind, it's a semi-bulky, covered from head to toe trench coat. So what this means is the Goon Squad may buy this skin, but they're going to be disappointed unless they get MVP every game. But if you're playing this skin, you're looking at a flowy trench coat, while your opponents are constantly being flashed by 50 karat diamonds every time you walk across the screen. And they're going to be distracted and going blind, and you are locked in, my friend. So, in true Emma Frost fashion, you're going to be getting past the defenses of their little monkey brains so that you can split their soul in two with your ridiculously powerful psionic abilities. So, dare I say it, this skin is easy rank points. I'm not endorsing buying it, but if you do, and you suddenly find yourself in Grandmaster, you can come by the Discord and say thank you.
Well done.
Oh, and Star-Lord is getting a skin or something this week too.
Oh yeah. Star Lord. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that was a great hot take, and 100% agree. You know, weaponize your skins against your enemies. Haven't seen it done in a game before, but this is if people want to talk about skins equal skill, shoot, this is probably the first time that we can talk about it in Marvel Rivals, getting that unfair advantage.
But
So
I think it also means that the first couple weeks you're gonna have the crew that's buying this skin and playing her, like insta locking her every time. But we may see them all filter back to Malice after a few weeks as
when they
they
realize,
can't put their finger on why they're disappointed with Emma Frost. And then
yeah,
those of us Magic mains who realize we finally have a Vanguard who is our play style will be able to rise
yeah,
and take our place.
yeah. I'm really looking forward to what this means for the community in general, which is that we're gonna have a lot of new Vanguard mains, and staking won't feel like such a chore for these insta lock duelists or malice mains. So,
Yeah.
um, and to be like legitimately too, I saw one of the first things that I saw when the skin was posted was a reply of a comic book cover with her wearing this exact skin.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's exactly from the I think it's Uncanny X-Men
okay,
is what
yeah.
people were
So
pointing out was the
they're
run.
they're still pulling from the lore with
Yeah,
all of these things, and
but they
so
have a lot of these things that they can pull out of comics if they want to.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I memed about, oh yeah, there's a Star-Lord skin too, but his skin actually looks pretty cool.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a Space Emperor Star-Lord kind of deal, which is cool.
Yeah, my wife always comments on Star-Lord because you don't see a lot of blonde video game characters, a lot of blonde men in video games, and I, as a blonde man, appreciate seeing some blonde men. We got two of them in Marvel Rivals. We got Star-Lord and Clint, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So
Which
that's cool.
yeah, when well, you got Thor too. Well, no, because his hair's
Oh,
gray
yeah,
in this
yeah.
game. He
Well, yeah,
was at
yeah,
one point.
fair,
He was
yeah.
blonde.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
But I remember when we saw that Hawkeye reveal, I was like, oh, it's Josiah. What the heck?
Hey, it's me. But cool. Well, that's all for the news. Let's move on to some news. Holy crap, they cooked! I don't know how we are coming out of one of the craziest live service game seasons I've ever seen in a video game with freaking 4 new heroes, 2 new maps, and still in season 2 it feels like we're like upping the game somehow with
No,
everything that's coming here.
there's less characters, but it somehow
Yeah.
feels like there's more going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's an exciting place to be. We are both so like genuinely excited about all of the stuff that was announced, and we can't wait to get into it. We're gonna start with the dev vision announcements, and I know we mentioned this last time, but just if if you're a new listener, or just to say it again, like these are so good. These dev visions are just one of the greatest forms of communication I've seen for a title like this, and they're so important. And I really appreciate that, like, I think I mentioned this before too, but I really appreciate that like they do it themselves.
Yeah. Guan
Um,
Guan.
yeah, especially because like just like English is not their first language, and it takes like a lot of courage to come on YouTube and address a, you know, billion plus people with a language that's
Yeah.
not your own, and like they're doing a really good job with that, and it makes it feel very like personal and intimate and real. So just shout out to shout out to Guan Guan and the rest of the devs. But Hellfire Gala, so that's where the stage is set for season 2. Really exciting stuff. I know Nick would have more to say about the lore of it than me, but even I know about the Hellfire Gala and a little bit of what's up there. Something very interesting that's in the beginning of their video that I just wanted to call out. So the catalyst for the story of this event is that Ultron is crashing the party of the Hellfire Gala, which is super interesting to me because we know that Ultron is going to be the next hero for this season. And so
And
this is the
and they say that. They say he's coming in the second half. Yeah.
And so this is the first time that we have a hero and a villain specifically who's like part of the story and also entering into the game the very same season, which I think is really cool. And I haven't heard a lot of people like from, we just got out of that review talking about the story, like from a story perspective, I think that's really unique.
It's also really interesting them making the actual villain for the first half of the season or for the whole season be a playable character in the second half. Like, we didn't get to play as Dracula. We didn't get to play. Haven't gotten to play as Doom. We haven't even seen them in game. You know what I mean? I'm really curious to see how they pull that off. Like,
me too.
Like, what exactly they're gonna do with that?
Right. I wonder if they're gonna do a more. I wonder if they're going to like have Ultron related lines and things like that going on in game, and then like transition in the second half of the season to like something else. I don't know. That seems like a lot of work, but who knows? Maybe they can pull that off. Another big question I have though is, where is Blade? Is he still just in the Defender's spawn point on Eternal?
No, he's not.
Oh.
No, I saw a screenshot today from a data miner who had like booted up the new files, and he's not there anymore. It's empty.
No way. Okay.
So where is he?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if I speculated this like on the show, but I was wondering, we were talking about this. I was saying like, are they gonna like shadow drop him at the end of season 1? Like, no way. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, that was my initial thought for what ended up being the April Fool's Venom emote, right? Was like there was this mystery thing like right at the end of the season, like, but it wouldn't actually really make any sense for them to drop a hero right at the end of season, because it just steps on the hype for the new hero coming out a week later, right? So right. He's gonna have to be like a season 3 or 4 or something, but it just seems weird. It left me a whole bunch of questions about like, did they have to pivot? Like, did they initially plan on him being the season 2 hero, but then he like wasn't ready in time or something, and they pivoted the story, and that's why Ultron's crashing Hellfire Gala, and it's like a weird mismatch. But I don't know, because that idea is really cool, right? So
that feels like a lot to rework in a fairly short time span. It feels like nothing. I mean, Emma Frost, obviously, with the Hellfire Gala, like one of the organizers of the gala, is for sure was locked in. Ultron, like maybe you could substitute for someone else, but it certainly wouldn't have been Blade, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and the idea isn't that like they did it last minute, because they've been working on these things for a long time. It would have just been
Yeah, yeah.
like early
Mm.
in production,
Sure, sure, sure.
whatever. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
who knows? This there it seems more like they're master planners, and they've got
Yeah.
this all figured out in some weird way.
Yeah, I'm excited to be along for the ride.
All right, so we're just going to highlight some of the big things that they said in that Dev Vision video. The first one that came to mind was they say, I'm going to quote them, that they're working on fulfilling various player fantasies. So they
Mhm.
mention, and here's the quote, they mention controlling multiple heroes at once, or controlling
Yeah.
heroes with diverse experiences that transcend competitive boundaries. Um, they then said that these were being explored right now and possibly coming to limited time modes soon.
Yeah.
So, a couple thoughts about this.
Mhm.
Okay, so that first one, controlling multiple heroes at once. I've heard some people saying like maybe it's like a Heroes of the Storm, Lost Vikings kind of thing where you swap between multiple characters. Maybe they're
Mm.
just talking about Cloak and Dagger, but we already have Cloak and Dagger. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
like,
yeah.
talking about like a form switch where you're controlling one character at once, but there's two of them doesn't really seem like it fits what
No.
they're talking about. It's not new. It's not different. It really sounds like almost to me, especially when they're talking about it, these things coming to limited time modes.
Yeah.
With the going Splatoon and then doing Rocket League right after
Right,
that,
right, right,
they're
right.
they're they're taking this engine of a game and like running it into completely different genres. I'm really curious if they're talking like MOBA mode kind of deal. Like
That'd be super
I would
cool.
play the heck out of that
Yeah. Oh,
for the
yeah.
couple weeks it's around.
I would love that. I love MOBAs, and I think this there's so much MOBA DNA in hero shooters in general, but like exceptionally in with Marvel Rivals. That would be super super fun. My initial reaction with the controlling multiple heroes thing was that sounded so crazy. I almost wondered if it was like something that got lost in translation. Um,
I don't know.
I'm excited to find out. I think a couple of my thoughts related to that is the way they talked about this whole thing, and you've alluded to this already. It feels bigger than the past event. So I'm going to give a couple quotes too. They're just two things that I picked up on where they said like several discussions on social media have certainly added some pressure on us. Like what were the people talking about? Like, what was this in context of? Was this like just talking about the limited time events that they've already done? Or is there a larger conversation going on here that like we just haven't noticed?
So I think one conversation I have seen go on since this game came out, and especially because of all the anger around Overwatch 2 failing at
Mm,
this,
yeah.
um,
Mm,
I wonder, and especially with the second statement, which was experiences that transcend competitive boundaries.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wonder if they're talking PvE things, like
Dang.
maybe not like a full-on PvE mode, but like they initially at launch were saying like we are not doing PvE, we have no interest in doing that. So
Right.
him
Right. Right.
saying they've certainly added some pressure on us because people keep talking about it. Like
Yeah.
it almost kind of sounded like a nice way to say like we haven't wanted to do PvE, but you guys really want us to. And like
Dang.
if they did it in like a limited time thing where it was just like a single mission going
Yeah.
on that ties into the season story, like that would be really cool and
That would
wouldn't have
be.
to be like a full-on story mode or whatever.
Yeah, you do like a raid basically
Yeah,
at the end
yeah,
of like a big story arc. Well, and that actually, man, I don't want to be like a super objective about it, but that sounds really plausible, especially with like my second quote was in response to them talking about feedback and comments on social media. They say to a certain extent, we agree.
right.
So
That's what
I
makes me think
wonder
it's not
if,
a full thing. And they
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
limited
yeah.
time, but if they
Mhm.
if they have it limited time with the story as we go,
Right, right. Well, and all of those things together are, and I'm gonna like pitch this as a pretty certain take. I don't think that this means they're like, yeah, we're gonna continue like the events that we've done in the past. This feels like bigger and more
like an
intentionally
escalation.
like different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I'm hyped for that.
Yeah. So whatever that is, maybe we'll see some of it this season, maybe it's next season or after. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's pretty cool. Next thing they mention, speaking of future seasons and
Please.
escalating things, more heroes faster.
Holy
Um,
crap.
so they say, they've been doing 3-month seasons with a month and a half between hero releases right now. And they said in season 3, so not this season, this one will be 3 months, month and a half between characters. But season 3, they're going to move to 2-month seasons with a hero coming out every month. So they're cutting 2 weeks off of each half season.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say related systems will be adjusted, which I think probably means like battle pass length, point
Yeah.
costs for battle passes, events, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it gotta be. Yeah, yeah. I just like, we've been talking about it, since they made this announcement last week, but like this still just feels so insane to me. I can't imagine having a new hero every month. Like I can't think of any other game that is doing something like that. And it's super exciting. I still have this just like, they haven't missed yet. And so I'm not like genuinely concerned. Just like in the back of my head, I'm like, how could they possibly keep this up in like a healthy way that doesn't diminish quality and stuff like that? I was immediately thinking of the launch of Helldivers 2, where they had like that really unprecedented success, and they started pumping out like some things that I think they were intending to delay quicker to like satiate this ravenous player base.
Sure.
And I know the big difference there is that like Marvel Rivals is doing kind of the opposite. They're well, in some way they are responding to like how successful the game has been, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just very curious to see how all this plays out.
I'm pretty confident that they don't seem like the way that they're doing it. They don't show any sign of crunch, if that makes sense. I don't know that that's true. Never worked there.
Yeah.
It could be a mess on the inside, but they've been doing everything pretty well so far, and they've got the pipeline working for skins every week. Like whatever they've got it pumping out stuff. And the one thing to do a little napkin math again, going to a hero every month is faster than what they were saying. It cuts off 2 weeks on each hero cycle, basically. But they started this with season 1 doing 4 heroes in 3 months. Right? And said, we're not going to do this every time. This is just a big opening, and slowed down to 2 heroes in 3 months. So going to a monthly thing now puts them at 3 heroes in 3 months.
Yeah.
If you do it in that kind of chunk. So it's not quite going to doing season 1 every time. It's like the middle ground between what they thought they were going to do once the game was really going and what they did at the beginning. So it kind of reads to me more like they planned on just doing a big opening with season 1, and then in the middle of season 1 they were like, you know what, we're way ahead on these. Like this is not taking us as long as we were giving ourselves to do like new hero designs and stuff, and we've got a bunch in the tank. Like we might as well go a little bit shorter and speed it up, which for them means selling more battle passes. It means because I don't expect they're gonna say, oh well, the battle pass is $750 because it's not as long as what I mean. Like
they're not. But who knows?
Unless they remove skins and there's less skins in each battle pass or something. But if it's still like the 10 skins, I imagine they'll keep the same price even if it's shorter time to do it.
No, I think it's got to be. I think my impression is that it's going to be more like the season 0 battle pass, where it's shorter. It's, again, going back to Helldivers, it's more like the War Bond, where like you can really grind it out quicker. Maybe their new challenges system will contribute to that, but however it works out, freaking bring it on, bro. I'm ready.
Yep. So next thing we got is costume colors and gifting. So they mentioned that certain popular costumes from the shop will be getting alternate colors. And then they also mentioned that you're going to be able to gift skins from the shop to players on your friends list. First, the gifting, that's awesome.
Yeah,
super cool. Costume colors is the thing that I'm most curious about. I really want to see season 2. Like, this is one of the things I'm going to check immediately, is check the shop, see if they have any that are already like that, and like what's going on with that, because we don't really have much info. All they showed in the video was the Psylocke Vengeance skin and the Luna Mira 2099 in a recolor of each of those, but it was concept art. So they didn't really give any information about like, are these recolors now just part of the skins? And like, it's kind of like the Overwatch to like ultimate end of the battle pass thing where you can just swap out the skin on the character at the end, or swap out the colors on the character at the end, or are they paid add-ons like you buy the main skin and then you pay the price of one of the default recolors to get the recolored one, or are they just separate skins that are easier for them to push out because all they have to do is palette swap? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll find out soon. My guess would be that it'd probably be so like with the costume coin, for example, when you claim a skin and you take the value of that, like obviously it's different based on the like rarity and stuff like that. I imagine that the recolors will be like that price. So kind of like how Overwatch, like all the Overwatch, and like there's tons of different games that do it. Like the different skin colors are all the same like value, and you get, you have to pay
Yeah.
like the same.
Well, that would be it being an add-on, right? Like
Yeah.
if you get the discount on it, but that would essentially mean that you need to get the original skin and then buy the recolor. Which
Or
would
maybe you could choose what color you want when you buy the skin. Who knows?
well, right. So then that's the question. Like then they're just separate skins and they're not related at all, or you get a discount if you already have one of them to get the. There's a whole bunch of ways that this could work out. The Overwatch way would have been to have them all be the $16 price tag on their own and just be independent skins that you have to pay like full price for.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like the Rivals way to do it.
No,
So
no,
I
agree.
I'm curious to see how they're going to do it.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, we both said, I can't remember what it was. I lost it, but I'm not going to forget. We both said something at the same time. So Jinx, you owe me the first skin. Anyway.
Well, you're gonna have to listen back and figure out what we said at the same time.
Oh, dang it.
If you want to claim that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say more about the skins, or can I go?
Oh,
to the next one?
just that. The gifting skins is something that like you might not think that it comes up a lot, but there have been so many games that we've played with our friends, like competitive multiplayer games, where there's been like a $5 skin or something, and I've been like, oh man, this would be perfect for like this one of our friends. And I'll like Venmo them and with like a comment saying like buy this skin or something.
Yeah.
Like I really like being able to do that in game. I think that's fun.
They're tapping into a new version of whales with this, which is they're not whales for their own account, but they're whales for their friends' accounts, and are constantly buying their friends' skins.
Whales with parasites.
Huh.
Anyway.
So next thing they mention, this is a public service announcement that I wish we had known about last week because it's probably too late at this point. If the update has gone live, I'm sorry, we couldn't tell you in time. But they mentioned that they updated some of the netcode to make it a lot more efficient, and that should help with performance and stability. So that's a pretty big deal, and should make the game a lot smoother and more reliable, especially if you're on lower end PCs. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I say it should be a pretty big deal and a pretty big improvement, because the downside is that in order to change the netcode this way, they needed to make some breaking changes that mean the old replays won't work. So I imagine they wouldn't have done that if it wasn't going to give a significant boost. Just because of the cost of having everyone lose replays and stuff. So it basically just means, you're going to have to save your replays before the update goes live to keep any Season 01 replays, which, again, if the update's already out when this is coming out,
Oops.
sorry, we couldn't get to you earlier. But I just want to give a little explanation on the programming side of why does changing the netcode break the replays?
All right, nerds, listen in.
All right, it's nerd minute. I was gonna say hour, but I didn't want to scare you.
You have 1 minute.
All right, here we go. So the replays in this game and in a lot of multiplayer games aren't actually videos or anything like that. They use the in-game systems like physics and player inputs and stuff, but just with recorded inputs. So when you're saving a replay of the game, you're not saving like the game. You're saving the inputs that everyone put into their controllers, basically, or like what messages went back and forth from the server to your game, right?
Oh, wow.
And then what they do is they replay that back without it actually being online. And that's why you can pause, why you can switch perspectives, you can do all these things, and it's a very efficient way to save it. That's also why you have to render the video if you want to save it to your computer, because it's not a video until you decide to save it, right? So if they change the way that the game is talking across the network, that's going to change what those inputs were and what those instructions were that were going back and forth, which means the old replays don't line up anymore, and they don't like if you tried to replay it, it wouldn't actually play back the same events. It would probably crash the game and blow up.
Yeah.
So there's really no way around that unless they made the replay system be able to, like, they'd have to build a whole thing to make it play different versions of the game, which would be a mess. So
Very interesting. There's so much on like the back end side of things that's so interesting. I remember the smoke grenades in Rainbow Six were like they weren't actually like physically in the game. It was like rendering, and it would render different on different people's computers, and so like it's
that's the one thing that that Rainbow Six didn't sync up across the network. They just said make a smoke cloud. So in the replays, it just doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, let's talk about some balance changes. Just a quick little tease.
Yeah, so there's 25 characters and like 8 team ups that changed. So we're gonna talk about the team ups today.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna talk about the balance changes today.
No. However, they're in the spirit of bringing people up rather than bringing like heavy hitters down. There is one more buff than there are nerfs in this update. There are 10 buffs, 9 nerfs, and 5 kind of like balance nerf buff things.
Well, and there's actually more buffs than it looks like, or more like balancing than it looks like, because almost everyone who lost a team up anchor, they buffed to compensate, and that's really just kind of keeping them the same. And almost everyone who gained being a team up anchor got nerfed to compensate for it. So we kind of have some more information now on how they manage the team up unbalance. It seems like they're using it as a way to test, like Thor's the example, like they're using it as a way to test, like, how does Thor work if he has more health? And then now that they take that team up away from him, they're like, yeah, that almost worked. Let's give him most of that health that he had, just like to his core stats. So that's cool. We'll talk about that next week, though. For this week, the only thing we want to do, just so that we can keep moving, is just give our biggest winner and loser from these balance patches, just so that you know, maybe have a couple people to look at and see, ooh, maybe I want to try them again. Josiah, you want to start with your winner?
Sure. So I think overall, there's a lot of cool ones here, but overall, Penny is my big winner. I think just from like objectively from like what this buff means for her, and also just like the one that I think I'm personally the most excited about too. Holy crap, adding crit damage to her primary attack is
insane.
Nuts.
Dude, the footage from the streamer previews was gross. I'm so excited to play Penny. She also has 750 health now.
Yeah, man. She's a true tank. And with that, increased mobility too, freaking 20% speed boost while she's firing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
While
they
she's firing her primary. Yeah. So
she doesn't slow down as much.
Yeah, she originally had a 40% speed reduction, and now she only has a 20% speed reduction. So
that looks good too.
Yep, faster firing, more health, and I mean, her shots can be, you know, they're relatively slow projectile speeds, but she has a fast fire rate, and she's generally fairly close to people too. And even infinite, I mean, they have infinite range. So you're going to get like lucky pot shot headshots
and infinite ammo.
So,
so you're just always shooting. It's like, well, maybe I'll hit something. I mean, I know why they didn't get for crits, right? Like, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
The 750 health, that's the amount of damage that the Scarlet Witch ult does. So if she has any sort of bonus health now, she's going to tank a Scarlet Witch ult. And she'll probably be on her webs, which means she'll heal immediately afterwards. So if she was, I mean, now you can just fearlessly try to do your web on the Scarlet Witch, and if you miss, like, you'll survive anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Who's your winner?
It was going to be Penny, but I'll look at some duelists. I mean, I think it's hard to pick one. There's like Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Scarlet Witch, Mr. Fantastic, all got just a lot of buffs.
Yeah.
But because of the team up that she's getting this season too, I think I have to say Scarlet Witch. It's fresh in
A
my mind because the last
yeah,
week I
right,
was
right.
talking about her, but I was watching that,
No, I
and
get it.
we'll talk about her team up in a minute. But I am so excited to play Scarlet
Yeah.
Witch this patch.
Yep, she's going to be absolutely nasty, for sure. So losers, oh man, this one's tough for me. Both of mine, I was kind of split in the middle between Adam Warlock and Doctor Strange. I'm going to say Doctor Strange actually, which will come up in our team up too. So on paper, it doesn't look like too much. It's a slight nerf to his primary fire, and it's very confusingly laid out, the nerf to his E, to his dark magic. What that means is that he can no longer one-tap squishies who are in Eye of Agamotto. That's like a really, really big part of his playmaking potential. This combined with all of the other Doctor Strange nerfs that have happened, I think this might be like the straw that kind of like breaks for him. So I wonder what that'll mean with like the Scarlet Witch team up, with him being the anchor there, because he is getting some bonus health and stuff. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't think that just because of his versatility, I don't think he'll ever be bad.
Yeah, no.
But this might be the season where you don't see him played much because of what we'll talk about soon, which is that Vanguards as a whole are just feasting. Like, there's a whole bunch of Vanguards that are getting brought way up.
We're getting a new one.
Yeah, so I mean, if there is a season, which is unfortunate for Scarlet Witch, that's the one thing that kind of tempers the Scarlet Witch hype, is if she needs Strange for the team up and he's not being played because there's too many good Vanguard options, like she might not really get the benefit of it. But
He's your loser.
I feel like I have to say Adam Warlock now. Just his big heal thing that like keeps everyone from dying is on a 40-second cooldown now. Like,
Yikes.
And they made it seem like the ult change was kind of a buff. It's a buff to Vanguards. Basically now he revives people at 30% health instead of 100 health flat. Yeah. It's a buff to Vanguards. It makes no difference for squishies, and I think some of them might actually come back with like 95 health now instead of 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like the Vanguards, I mean, if you bring back Penny, who is the highest health in the game now, 30% of Penny is like what, 210, 12, somewhere in there. Like it's not. She got an extra 100 health coming back. You're still less health than a squishy. Coming back as a Vanguard that everyone's going to shoot. Like, I don't know. I think it was just a nerf and a nerf.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why Adam is getting so much attention here. Like, yeah, he is up there in win rate. Like, he's in the top 10 from the new hero hot list. But like, I don't feel like it's because that healing is so consistent every 30 seconds.
I think it's because of the I think it's a competitive, like a high rank thing, like a tournament thing. Because the triple guardian res comp was like meta
100%
during that.
Yep.
And they said that they were doing the Adam and Loki change to like try to keep fights from dragging out that much. Maybe in another portion of the ladder, that's a huge thing. At least for us, I don't really see people play Adam that much, but that's because people can't like aim as well, and they didn't attack his damage dealing at all.
No,
like,
which is cool. That is cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. I'm just a little bummed that already his like fairly sporadic healing will be even more sporadic.
Yeah. So just really quick, you were sad about Doctor Strange being your loser, and I was gonna say Winter Soldier before Adam didn't get taken, and it makes me so sad because the last week or two I started like one tricking Winter Soldier to try to learn him, and I've just been having so much fun, been getting a lot better at aiming, like by trying him out, like game sense stuff. He makes it like easier to figure out like how to pay attention to the right things. I'm having so much fun with him, but they're making his ult worse, which might be fair, but it's sad. and
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
hook. Like you
Yep.
can't hook.
4 more seconds.
Yeah. Oh man. So
I
he'll still be
I
good. He'll
will.
still be really good.
I'll commiserate with you, but I'm gonna say he needed it. I
He
think Winter
probably did,
Soldier
but
is one of the most dominant, like
yeah.
versatile characters in the game.
Yeah. I
But
mean, realistically, like the people who are getting hexa kills with his ult are still gonna get those because they have the aim to wipe
yeah,
you out, regardless
yeah,
of
yeah,
if you
yeah,
have
yeah.
10 extra health. But for the rest of us, we're gonna get less of those moments where we're like, I'm so good at this game. So,
No, sure,
but he'll
sure. I
still be
get
good.
that. He will still be good. And you know what else is still good? The freaking map design in Marvel Rivals. Let's talk about Krakoa, man. It is looking insanely sweet.
Yes, it is.
I love the juxtaposition between the kind of darker, grimier, creepy horror vibes of this season with the Eternal Night ones, and now this like very high fantasy, like magical,
Paradise.
pristine utopia. Yeah, 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 yeah. From the oh man, like Professor X Cerebro and that like waterfall shrine to that like Groot tree grove and the purple like crystalline caves. Like there's so much here to take in, and a lot of really cool like both like lore Easter eggs and potentially like gameplay affecting things too. Like the
Yeah.
I'll just mention one. The big one that popped out to me are the portals. I think they show like 4 portals in the trailer, all in different locations. 3 of them are like open and one of them is closed. And it's got me thinking like, oh man, are they going to introduce some like
Or do they
new
rotate
mechanics?
like throughout
Yeah.
the game? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Do
Yeah,
they rotate and
they are gonna get their money's worth from the portal mechanic that they spent, years working on or whatever it was. Like,
Isn't that funny how they've like the Doom match, like they've got the portal mechanic in there. They're like, hey, look at this. And now in here too, like, but I'm 100% on board with like exploring more interesting like environmental mechanics and things like that.
mhm.
I think like pushing an objective, capturing an objective, like tried and true, like there's nothing wrong with it, but like the more different things that we can have going on, like I love the map transitions that happen that feel very like Battlefield 4-esque when the
Yeah.
pillar comes down and the whole, the whole objective point changes. Like more of that, please. I'm so down.
Yeah. I'm gonna be scouring this map for the obligatory health pack by a cliff, so that I can do my
Yeah.
invisible woman main things, or now Emma Frost kick people off a cliff when they go
Well,
for a health
hey,
pack.
Paradise in the Sky. I think you're gonna have some opportunities for those
Yeah,
environmental
I'm
kills.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
I will say I'm really excited just that we're getting a new domination map in general.
Hmm.
Um, I think the payload maps and the hybrid maps are the ones that feel the most hero shooter a lot of the times. And
Hmm.
so like I feel like they get the most attention.
Yeah.
And so I really like domination though, especially because I play a bunch of brawly characters and like having a point that everyone has to fight over to, let me do my job.
Sure.
Um, so I'm excited to see it get some love with a new
That's
map.
that's funny because I like the hybrid map is my favorite just because I like the
Those are
variety of
fun
it.
too, yeah.
But I was surprised when I found out that this one was domination just because from I mean, they did a really good job with the trailer run through. It looks big. Looks like a big old
Hmm.
map.
Well,
I
because it's
wonder if
three,
we'll
yeah, because it's domination.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Um, I will say too, you mentioned lore Easter eggs and stuff. This
Hmm.
is Krakoa is the only comic run that I'm actually familiar with, like from reading it myself. Um,
Nice.
so I am a bit giddy about this one. Uh,
Yeah.
so like I'm super excited to see all the details and the various huts and like they have Shogo in there as Jubilee's adopted son who gets turned into a dragon in the Excalibur comics and he's like hanging out in one of the huts and
Those are
um,
some fancy words you're using there, Marvel man.
I'm just saying there's a bunch of stuff and it looks super faithful from what I've seen. Like it looks like the art from the book. It's just I'm so excited. But
That's sick.
I will say with there being so many X-Men Easter eggs and references,
Hmm.
People are gonna be, and they already are, and I'm seeing it. People
Yeah.
are so tempted to think that any and every reference is like a teaser or confirmation for some new character
Yep.
that's gonna come out. Like
Data
everyone's like, "Oh,
mining
that
all
means
over.
Jubilee's coming, Kitty Pryde's coming." Like
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
just all over the place, like without any data under it, just seeing the Easter egg on the map.
Yeah.
So I think we, like hang on and, and
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah.
see what comes. I will say though that I think the most likely one that people have been throwing out this week is the Professor X
100%.
one because of the
Yep.
statue.
Hmm.
The Storm statue is her MVP pose for her default skin. There's another statue that I think Emma Frost is her model
Yeah,
from the game. So the Magneto one isn't. So it's still possible that the Professor X one is just something they made for a statue. But I think that means that they have an in-game model for him
for
already.
sure. No, I'm fully committed to the idea that they do. There've been so many Professor X teases. Like we had the Cerebro helmet spray
Hmm.
in the Galactus event this season. The Cerebro his Cerebro helmet is in the map too. It's
Yeah,
like
it's one of the
woven
points
into
you
the
fight over.
vines. Yeah, and like all of those things together, he's got to be coming soon, which gets me super hyped.
Yeah, so I I will say we had a broken Cerebro helmet was the spray, right?
Hmm.
Um, so if you don't want comic spoilers for the Krakoa era, I mean it's in like the first three comics of that era, but skip ahead 30 seconds. But it makes me think that we're in the portion this version of Krakoa is in the portion of the Krakoa era where Xavier was killed, um, which would explain the point where you're fighting over Cerebro. It would explain him not being present with any of the X-Men characters in the
Hmm.
game up to this point, and with the Magneto references mutant resurrection as being something that they're entitled to, which is very
Yeah.
like that Krakoa part where they're resurrecting everyone. So it just means that they have a very natural way, if they want, at the end of the season or future seasons, to have them revive Professor X in Krakoa, and then boom, he's the new character. Like
Yeah.
it's just very clean how they could do
Yeah.
it that way. Um, and I want him in the game.
Yep. The same. That would be super super sick. Um, and yeah, my last observation about this was I didn't notice, and in domination maps, I think there is less of it in general. I didn't notice like a lot of stuff that looked like it would be destructible. I like now that I with the Eternal
Maybe
Night
like trees
maps.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are like so many like buildings already, like crumbling buildings and things that were very obviously destructible. They like showed it in the trailer a lot with the bridge being broken and all that kind of stuff. So I hope we do still see some nice destructibility because there's a lot of thick environmental things. And no, I'm not just talking about Emma Frost's statue. Uh, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff in the environment that didn't it's not giving destructibility. So I hope there is some of that.
Yeah. But okay, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get through it.
Do
Speaking
it.
of dominance,
Oh
um,
no.
no. Uh, let's talk about the new hero.
Oh man.
I tried one of your segues and it just didn't work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have a new hero for this part of season two, and
We sure do.
if you have not been on the internet in the last week, it's Emma Frost. So she's going to be a Vanguard. She's going to be 3-star difficulty, if that means anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know how a form switch and a whole bunch of stuff like that's going to be 3-star difficulty, but
Yeah.
okay, whatever. And then she's got 650 HP. That is with her being a team up that gets 100 max health extra this season for the anchor bonus. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what she ends up being when they get rid of that team up eventually. But I would say, going to our Vanguard sub rules, I would say she looks about 60% Brawl, 60 or 40% Anchor Vanguard would be
Yeah.
my take on it. We can talk about that as we go.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like so much of her like combat kit is brawl. I think the thing that really makes her anchor is the fact that she has a like a shield, something to protect more than just herself is like one of the key elements that differentiates like anchors versus brawlers. So I think that's a big one. But man, like she looks so cool.
I'm so excited. Yeah.
I have to say they are absolutely killing it with the character kits. Every single one of them. Mr. Fantastic is like the only one that I wasn't like super blown away by seeing him, but that is just because like his aesthetic, like his vibes are just different from my like personality. But like his kit is cool, and everyone has just been like so unique and fun. I can't quite like put my finger on what it is specifically, but like this game, it just like instinctually, I feel like the characters are more like MOBA like, rather than what's traditionally expected from a hero shooter. I mentioned that earlier in this episode that I think Marvel Rivals, of like the existing hero shooters, I think that Rivals shares a lot more DNA with the MOBA. And the only things that I can think of are like, they're just weird. Like the abilities are unusual. You don't usually see stuff like this that is like as mechanically complex and like manipulative in Emma's case as these abilities. So
yeah, their
she's
abilities. Oh, sorry.
oh no, just my last sentence. She is 100% the coolest to date for me. I am the most like hyped about her, and I've been excited about all of them. So that's saying something.
Yeah, same. I gotta say, like, I guess my ranking for post-release characters of how excited I am about their playstyle, like, she's definitely the top, and then it maybe Invisible Woman and the Thing were kind of tied after that, and then it goes from there. I agree with you on that for sure. I think maybe the kit thing is that like their abilities are really combo centric. Like
Yes.
a lot of the characters, it's not like you think of. I mean, Star-Lord fits like the Tracer mold of like you're shooting, you're dashing all over the place, and that's what you're doing a lot of time. But like most of them, they're not afraid to give them a lot of abilities and form switches and stuff like that. Where like there's very clear like combinations that you're trying to pull off and synergies within your kit, which is really really fun.
I can't speak to Star-Lord specifically because he's still one of my 0 seconds played characters. But like even a lot of the characters, and we've talked about this through many episodes, even a lot of the characters that like seem initially very simple, there's a lot of like fighting game DNA, I think, with like the combos and like setups and things like that. I mean, think about the 1-star heroes. Shoot, we just covered Scarlet Witch last week. We were talking about Mantis. That was in our Reddit. We were talking about that with like the 1-star heroes and stuff. Like there's so much more than what meets the eye with those things. So yeah, definitely.
I would like to go through the roster and see what the distribution is of those difficulty stars.
Yeah,
I actually, those are really intriguing to me because they don't seem to make much sense. But yeah, like they don't seem to make much sense. But like I think if we pieced it all together, we might be able to figure out what's
there'd be a through line. Yeah. Well, let's get into her abilities. So we haven't experienced her yet, but both Nick and I have watched a lot of gameplay of her and have learned already a lot of things, and it's pretty exciting. So so she has to start it off. She's got 2 forms, so we'll go through her normal form abilities first, and then she has her like diamond form abilities. So her left click, her primary, is telepathic pulse. So she fires a psionic beam to deal damage. The longer this beam hits, the higher the damage. Void Ray go brrr. I love this kind of thing so much. I love beam abilities in every freaking game. Every game I play, I love beam abilities. There's something about it that's so satisfying, especially when you can see like the damage creeping up like that. It's one of my favorite things, just like mechanically and aesthetically. I love that this is her ability.
I will out myself 100% that I was a Void Ray amassing scumbag in every StarCraft 2 game that I played Protoss.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna build a whole bunch of Void Rays and hope.
How
that
can
it works.
you not? They're so
it's
cool.
So fun.
I do like with these telepathic based characters though. I posted a picture on here from Reddit. Like this is basically Emma Frost's primary fire, right? And it's just her like holding her fingers up to her head and a duelist like crinkled up on the ground as she's like projecting emotional damage onto them. I like
Yeah.
picturing like obviously in the shows and everything, they give them all like blue or purple or something. But like if it were real, like quote unquote,
Yeah, yeah,
would you
yeah.
just see her like looking very intently and people just like collapsing on the ground?
Right. Yeah, which would be terrifying.
That would be.
Um, yeah, I'm curious about the ammo. So it's 70 ammo, right? And it lasts a decent amount of time doing that. But I am
Hmm.
curious if it's something where it's like a minigun where the beam damage ramps down when you aren't hitting someone, or if it restarts like immediately. Like if you
Ooh,
reload, are you gonna have to start from the beginning, or is it just gonna have, petered off a little bit?
good
Which
question.
also I'm curious about, like if you don't hold it on someone 100% of the time and you miss a little bit, like are you gonna start over?
Yeah.
I would assume it would peter off and it wouldn't be immediate for that
Huh.
reason alone. Because are you going to be 100% accurate all the time? Like it would feel weird if
Yeah.
you were at minimum damage all the time because you miss
Because
one
people are hard
pixel.
to hit. But I feel like I don't know. My instinct is that it might be that way because if yeah, the void rays like hold their charge.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I in the gameplay that I watched of her, I don't know. I guess it's hard to tell because it doesn't. The animation I don't believe changes based on what like damage tier you're in. Um,
That's true. It might just be while you're holding it down, you're doing
yeah.
more damage. Like
Well,
even if you're not missing them. But it
we'll
says the
find
longer
out.
the beam hits. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hmm.
We'll have to do some research,
Yeah.
which I've realized on all our episodes is code for we're never going to bring this up again. Uh, I need to start writing down the
When
things that
is
we
there
say we're going to
time?
research. I know that's the problem. All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so her right click, Mind's Aegis, create a levitating barrier at the designated location. Basically, you can just shoot a shield out in front of you. It seems like the longer you
Yeah.
hold it down, the further away it goes to a certain
Yep.
point.
Yep.
Um, it's got a 3-second cooldown when you recall it. You can recall it like Invisible Woman's shield with F or whatever it is on controller. That's like the portal, like alternate ability that some characters have. It has 500 HP, and like Invisible Woman's shield, it recovers 50 HP a second when it's not out, I believe. I'm not entirely sure about the rate, but I do remember it was in chunks of 50. I would assume it's probably per second, but think of it kind of like Invisible Woman's shield, but cast in front of you and beefier.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching some testing in the practice range and it has a 40-meter range. So it goes pretty far. Um, and yeah, I think like Invisible Woman, it's not something that you're going to want to like send out and just like keep it in one spot. I
Hmm.
think I anticipate that her tech with this is going to be like, it's right place, right time. Like you 500 damage, sustains are gonna burn right through that pretty quickly. But you can stop an Iron Man ult, you can stop a
Right.
Magneto ult, you can cancel an Namor ult. Like there's a lot, there's a lot of tech there, and she's now the first Vanguard who she can set up her shield and then fight. She can
Yeah.
fire through it, which is super cool. Again, increasing her damage output and can like giving her that tilt toward the brawler sub role.
Yeah.
But so her next ability is her E, Psychic Spear. So so freaking cool. Seize control of an enemy's sentience. Damage dealt to the sentience cascades to the physical form and can be pierced by telepathic pulse. When the sentience shatters, it unleashes extra damage on its owner. So there's a lot here, but this ability is absolutely nuts.
This is definitely up there in my ranking of possibly like the broken thing in this kit. There's
Yeah,
there's other ones that feel like that too, but I think this is probably the like most consistently broken part of the kit, if that makes
yeah,
sense. The other
yeah,
ones
yeah,
are more flashy, but this is the thing that is going to make you disgusting. It is essentially the thing that the sentience looks like. It just kind of looks like a little diamond kind of
yeah. Cluster.
Protoss pylon thing. If we're talking StarCraft 2
There
today,
you go.
apparently
Let's keep it going.
that's the game of the day. That just kind of sits in front of them. So since your beam can pierce it, you just start doing the Invisible Woman tech of trying to get trying to get the sentience between you and the enemy and hit both of them. When it dies, it does like quite a bit of extra damage.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it,
There.
it's got a
It.
little bit of Hawkeye's ult in it too, and like you
Mm-hmm.
have a stationary target now that you can do a bunch of damage to.
Yeah, well, it makes me. It's like a mini Eye of Agamotto, is what I think of, where you don't get the stun from it, but you do get the ability to deal damage. Which I'm curious to see. I haven't seen it. So many people are like playing her in the practice range with this. Like, does it break when they get far enough away, or can you
Mm.
like soul rip someone who's running away and has like broken line of sight and delete them by dealing enough damage to that thing? Like, that's crazy to think about. I'm
Yeah,
so curious to
yeah.
see what happens with that. The other really cool thing that I noticed with this, so in the ability description, it mentions that her telepathic pulse, which is her primary, pierces it. So the real tech here is, if you're firing through this, you're dealing damage. You can fire through it and hit the hero behind it
Yeah.
and deal damage to them too. So you're
Yeah.
dealing twice, not exactly twice, but you're dealing like almost twice as much damage. And then that thing pops. It, in like most of the cases that I've seen, it just deletes people so quickly.
Yeah. Well, hold that thought for when we get to her ult, and
Oh
and
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
come back
yeah.
to it.
Yes, yes.
The last thing I want to say is the real reason why I'm so like this is busted is because the cooldown is 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you can do
All
this.
her cooldowns, man.
You can do this twice as often as Dagger can bubble people,
Yeah.
and and you're just bursting people down. Like it's just I don't understand.
Yep.
It feels I don't know. Maybe it must not be as crazy as it feels, but
Yeah.
it seems nuts. This is one that you want to use whenever it's off cooldown. Like this is a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, because even if it doesn't seem like you're going to be able to capitalize, like you're still just going to be able to shoot that stationary sentience.
it's just
And
guaranteed
like,
damage. Yeah.
yeah, it's just guaranteed damage. So, man, so freaking cool.
Another thing I want to know is you mentioned like does it disappear when people run away? I also want to know if it has a lifespan, like if it goes away
Oh,
after a
it's
certain time if
gotta,
you
it's
don't finish it.
gotta. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
otherwise you could just store it,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
just store it in
Wait,
a
you're like,
corner somewhere.
all right, they're on low health. Yeah, you just have like a scout. You have invisible woman like watching from a rooftop when someone's low,
Yeah,
and you're like, yeah,
you
like
have it down to like 5 health, and you're just waiting for the moment for that extra burst when they It's
yep,
way too
yep,
much setup. It's not actually
yeah,
worth it,
yeah.
but it would be
No,
hilarious
and there's
if
no
they're
way that
running
they do
away
that,
and they
but
just randomly die.
that'd be freaking hilarious.
All right, well, her last ability in her normal form is her shift to diamond form.
Yeah.
Activate diamond form to transform your attack style while gaining damage reduction and unstoppable. Unstoppable is the CC immune thing that you get in certain
Yep.
circumstances on certain characters. Um,
The thing's
diamond
passive.
form, yeah, diamond form has a 8 second duration, and once that duration is over, then you have a 15-second cooldown.
I just like the damage reduction on this, to put this into perspective. So she has 650 health, right? Now 100 of that is because she's an anchor for this season. I doubt they'll leave her at 550 health after we come out of
Yeah.
all of this. That's way too
That
low.
would be
But
the lowest for the
yeah,
Vanguard.
Vanguard that exists. But what this means right now for this season, 650 health with the damage reduction. We don't have the exact percentage on what that means, but what it means from the footage that we've seen is that she can face tank reality erasure.
Yeah.
She can stand in a Scarlet Witch ult and survive. Also, this is just the setup for more of her freaking abilities. Like, this is strong enough to just stand on its own. 8 seconds of CC immunity and damage reduction? Like, and it's only on a 15-second cooldown. Like, the uptime on this is insane. I think it is. I haven't like investigated, but I think this is the like longest lasting buff that exists in the game. 8 seconds is a crazy amount of time.
It definitely was until the Mantis buff that we'll talk about.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because now they let her stack, but each individual one I don't think
Yeah.
is 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. So, yeah, in diamond form, one of the things is her primary attack changes. So it instead of becoming the telepathic pulse, now it is the faceted fury. So in diamond form, she delivers a crushing double-sided fist strike to enemies. So she becomes a melee only character while she's in diamond mode. I don't know the exact damage that it deals. I don't know if it's
It
more
seems like a
or
lot though.
yeah. I don't know if you like break down the DPS. I don't know if it's like more or less than the mind's than the telepathic pulse, but it's pretty nasty.
It feels like
It's
the thing. Like it feels like
yeah.
the thing for a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then her right click changes as well, which is Crystal Kick, which I almost want to talk about after the next one because of the combo. But this is the right click. It's the next one. So it says in diamond form, unleash a flying kick forward and knock back enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Extra damage is dealt if they're propelled into a wall.
Oh baby, you know I
Yeah.
love me some wall slam.
Yeah, this is really cool that they're doing like environmental damage on a character ability. I think that's the first time we've seen that,
Yep,
which
yep.
is awesome.
And again,
Um,
like all of the freaking levers that they have, dude. Like
yeah,
this keeps coming up, but my goodness, environment. Like what? There. Think of another hero shooter that has environmental damage. Like you won't. This is so cool.
I think something that people haven't noticed about this because they're just thinking about kicking people is that this scene from the description it sounds like it has a little bit of a dash too. 'Cause it says a flying kick forward, right? So it seems like there's a little bit of
Hmm.
movement where you get to kick towards people. So that's nice. And then I did find out this cannot push the thing, which is to be expected because it's a knockback.
Yeah.
Uh, and this is on a 3-second cooldown. So
Yeah.
during your 8 seconds of diamond form, if you hit this immediately as soon as you turn into it, you could do this 3 times. If you do it within the first 2 seconds to get that cooldown going.
Yep. That's it's absolutely nuts. And from what I could tell, from watching her hit squishies, I think it does half of their health. I think it does 125 damage. The kick,
If they hit the wall.
yes, the initial impact of the kick combined with impacts to the wall, which is absolutely insane. That's an execution ability as long as you are not in a completely open area, which there really isn't much of that in Marvel Rivals. There's pretty much in any position you could be in, you could find a wall
Right. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
direct someone to. Which
Well, and then there's the knockback too, just the general like knock people off cliffs
sure.
potential. Like on such a short cooldown, and if her form switch is as seamless as Cloak and Dagger is, I mean this is the switch to or switch to Cloak, hit your E kind of thing,
Mhm.
where like you can just do it when you're near an edge really quick. Just all right, I'm kicking you off, free kill,
Yeah.
great, you know.
It seems like there's like Cloak and Dagger is like literally in pretty much as instantaneous as you can get. From watching, it seems like there's a tiny, like it's not even 1 second, but it seems like there's a little bit of delay before you can like activate another ability.
Sure, but you're still getting damage reduction during that, so
100%.
probably not going anywhere. Yeah.
And there's so much synergy, so let's just get into the next ability so that we can talk about some of that. So her E in diamond form is Carbon Crush. So in diamond form, lunge forward to grab an enemy, then execute a back slam to inflict damage. Holy crap, all you multiversal freaks out there can finally get your step on me mommy fix. I can't wait to see this ability show up in the meme compilations. And this just goes even further into Nick's skin tech that he talked about in the beginning of this episode. First, you got neurons firing from facing Emma Frost with the skin, and then she's gripping you by the throat and slamming you on the ground. Good luck.
I heard one of the copes I've heard people saying about the skin thing is that like, well, she has to have that for gameplay purposes. She has to be like uncovered because you have to be able to tell when she's in diamond form, which is fair,
Uh-huh. No,
but also a
that's
cope
legit.
at the same time.
I actually think but to be fair, yeah, they didn't have to do it in the way they did it, but
No, but they
I
have to
bet,
make it obvious somehow.
I
Yeah.
bet in her character design they really did that, like
Which is
for
part of
that
the
reason.
justification they do in the comics for
In
it
the
too.
comic too. Yeah, sure. Um, one thing I want to connect back. So like there's obvious things that you can think of with the this and the crystal kick. One big thing that I want to mention that I haven't seen anybody talk about. So here's my Heroes of the Storm reference for the episode. I used to be, one of my mains was Garrosh Hellscream, and one of his abilities was to, if you were close enough, you could grab someone and flip them behind you, and it would do very little damage, but it would set up his second ability, which was to yeet people. And so what you would do is someone would get a little bit, I mean, you can't tell me that they didn't see this and like get some inspiration from it. What you would do is when people would get out of position,
Yep.
or you would get up a little closer, you freaking slam them and then kick them into your team, and
Yep.
your team, like a swarm of starving piranhas, eats them alive. I cannot wait to pull this move off in game.
I can't either. Like, so I mean, the first thing I wanted to say about this ability is this is Magic's E dash, because you lunge forward to grab them, right? It's probably not the same like length, right? You're not that mobile, but you're lunging forward to grab them. But instead of launching them up like Magic does, you're throwing them behind you after CCing, grab locking them, and then they're behind you, like you're mentioning with Garrosh and all that. Like, it's like a Magic dash that ends in the tech that you have to do as Bucky, where you pull people and turn while you're pulling them so that you get them thrown behind you. Except you don't have to do any of the tech; it's just there for you.
Yep.
Like, they're just like, yeah, why don't you just have that for free? And then here's another ability to kick them into the back line.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
the fishing that we're gonna do on the front lines is gonna be fantastic.
The fishing. Yeah. It's going to be beautiful. One more thing that I want to mention is, so the her psychic spear, the thing that pulls out the sentience from the enemy, the soul from the enemy. So that's her right click, right? So she can't use that in diamond form because her right click turns into the click.
Right.
However, you can use it and then go into diamond form for freaking maximum damage. There are so many combos that she's going to have. There's already a couple of them that have been discovered for like instant deletions. I just, man, I can't wait.
Couple last things on this ability too for me. This one you can do to the thing. So
That's
you
really
can
surprising.
stun him because it's not displacing him. It's not a displacement effect.
But it puts him behind you.
Yeah, but you can no. You won't put him behind you, but you can grab him and hold him up in the air and CC him. But then he'll just drop at your feet instead of dropping behind you. So he's still like less vulnerable to it than everyone else, and he can't get kicked, right? So the whole combo is gone. But if you need to stop him from using his ult or something, you can still use this like you would a Squirrel Girl, Acorn thing, or any of the other CC like Mantis Sleep that all affect the thing. You can still do that with
Wait, the
this.
Squirrel Girl Acorn affects the thing?
Yeah, because it's not moving him; it's doing the opposite, it's stopping him from moving.
Oh. Huh.
He's not unaffectable. He just can't be moved by other players' abilities.
Oh, okay. Wow. For some reason. Okay. Oh, anyway, continue.
The last thing is, this is on a 6-second cooldown. So you have 8 seconds while you're in diamond form. So just like you could get 3 kicks out if you use the first one within the first 2 seconds. If you use this one within the first 2 seconds, it will come back up like right at the end of diamond form. And if you time it right, you can do it again. So essentially, if you are using the diamond form switch as there's someone in front of me that I want to grab and then kick behind me, and you're using that hook, you're going to get to do it again like right at the end, as long as you hit that quick enough, right? I'm not sure that it depends on how long the animation is, like how long you stun lock them before you throw them behind you, if you can really get the kick off too, but you should at least be able to grab a second person at the end if you do it right away.
But with the 6-second cooldown and it's only 8-second diamond form.
Right. So if you switch to diamond form and within the first 2 seconds, like within the first second, you use this ability.
Oh, duh.
It will be off.
Sorry. Yeah,
in the last second. So you'd have to time it really well. But
right.
I imagine a lot of times. I imagine a lot of times you're switching to diamond form to grab someone anyway.
Yeah.
Like someone's in your face and you're like, I'm gonna grab them. So you hit shift, you hit E, you hit right click to knock them behind you. Practice that in the practice range, and then right at the end you can, hold them up again if they haven't died in the middle of your team in the last 8 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, Marcy, edit that math blender out. The listeners don't need to know that I had to retake math as many times as I did in summer school. Anyway, let's move on to her ultimate.
All right. Her ultimate, psionic seduction.
Ooh.
Uh, you project a forward psychic assault that stuns foes and prevents them from unleashing their ultimate abilities. They really like the word unleash in her. They use it in almost all of them. They always talk about it as unleashing
Yeah.
abilities. But
Stuns foes, and yeah, so I mean, and
yeah,
that's just for skin. So let's talk about her ultimate ability.
okay. All right, let's start again. Project a forward psychic assault that stuns foes and prevents them from unleashing their ultimate abilities. If the effect lingers, it gradually commandeers their mind, forcing them to move towards Emma Frost. Okay, so let me give you the
Wild.
details. Yeah, so that we can get a picture of what this actually is. Let me give you the details. So 6-second cooldown. Sorry. No, it's an ultimate
6
ability.
second, yeah.
6-second duration. It is a giant cone that you can
Yeah.
hit people in. It takes up most of your screen and it goes out 30 meters. So this is bigger than the thing's clobbering time goes. Like this thing is huge. And so you basically, if you are looking at someone and they're generally towards the middle third of your screen, you're going to do damage to them, stop them from using their ultimates, which is insane.
Yeah.
And then it's filling up a meter on everyone that's inside of it, and you'll see it over their heads. And when the meter is full, they just stop being able to do anything and start walking towards you for the rest of the duration
Yep.
of the ult. I think that's probably about 3-4 seconds max. I don't know how long it takes for the bar to go up, but I mean this is nasty.
Yeah, man. I genuinely think that this is one of the most powerful ults in the game. Like, I know we haven't. I want to be. I don't want to be like hyperbolic and say like, oh man, like every new character is just going to be so OP. Like, I so
I do.
it
This is
is.
cracked.
Right. No, seriously. I generally hear from all the way up to like Pro League that Luna's ult is like the best ult in the game. This stops that from happening. When like Luna ults, you know that when someone on your team pops a big damage ult and Luna has her ult, like she's gonna do it. She's gonna pop it every single time to prevent her team from dying. So not only can you just straight up kill tanks with this ult, but you can also use it as a setup for your team to basically ensure that there's no counterplay available to them through the use of their ultimates. Like that is crazy. Then factor in all the additional tech that you can do with it. Shoot, you can freaking force the enemy team to C9 in overtime. Like seeing those kinds of plays, like pulling them away from the the objective or whatever, like that is diabolical. Her whole kit is diabolical.
Yeah, I mean, this is the setup ult of all setup ults. Like, it's not going to kill a whole team on its own from the damage, because I don't think the damage is enough to kill people outright unless someone else does something, unless maybe a squishy is in it the entire time.
Yeah.
But you're setting up your team to just have like free real estate for the whole time.
Free real estate.
And let's get back to that psychic spear.
Yeah.
You can use the sentience on someone, pick a tank, hint, and then use this ult, and it will start taking damage over time. They will start taking damage over time. When it gets killed, it will do the big chunk of damage. I saw in the previous streams that you can get a near instant kill on a squishy if you have their sentience there when you pull this off, or it can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be able to kill a tank if they're inside of it the whole time, right?
Yep. It will take them from
other.
100 to 0. Yeah, I saw that in the practice range where they used it against 750 health tanks, and it killed them. If they were in it the entire time and sentience was detonated, they died.
Yeah, I mean, Groot is in shambles right now because like he has a big setup ult that does damage over time, and then they just gave her the same thing, but said also she can like pretty much guarantee that she can get a couple kills on her own with this, and also they're not just gonna stay in one spot, but you can move them around wherever you want in C9 on purpose and all these
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
there's just so many other things that you can do with this that, yeah, this is. I'm so excited for this ability.
Yeah. The only way that I can, and I'm like, I think that this ultimate is incredible. I don't think that it's going to be like broken in the sense that I think that
No,
you'll be able to escape it before the like actual like full mind control manipulation thing sets in. But there are
right.
just so many uses, and it's always good. That's one of the really important things. Like, no matter whether you're using this ult to like kill or to like pull people off an objective or to just prevent them from using their ults, it's just always functional.
Yeah, I think to be fair, what the counterplay is for this, as far as I can tell, she cannot do this in diamond form,
Yeah, right.
which is a nice lore accurate thing for them to have, because she can't use her psychic
For
abilities in
psychic
diamond
abilities,
form,
yeah.
right? So it's for that reason, but also for a gameplay reason. It means that she is not CC immune while she's doing this, as far as I can tell, unless they give her CC immunity on the ult, which they do
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some characters. Which means, your counterplay is you either get out of there and hide behind something so you're not in the big wave, or you try to CC her and cancel it before you get to the point where you're all taken over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I can't wait. Can't wait to see it in game.
yep. Yeah, so
Well,
let's move on from Emma, and I will say she is getting the rank reward skin if you hit gold 3 during
yeah.
the season. It's like a purple and gold version. So if you're a Laker fan, rejoice, I guess. But no, it looks pretty cool. I'm excited for this skin.
Yeah, definitely. I have we seen it revealed in full or just in the little like headshot preview?
Yeah, we've just seen the headshot preview. But
Okay,
the
okay.
headshot preview shows like all of the stuff on her normal skin that's white is gold, and all
Mm,
the stuff that's the blue on her normal skin is purple.
yeah, right, right, right,
So
right.
imagine that, and you get a pretty good picture.
Well, I hope you all are excited about Emma Frost as we are. I hope we see a lot more Vanguards. But look forward to our aim trainer Instalock Emma Frost video coming soon. Just kidding. Don't actually look out for that. But at least she's a Vanguard, so you don't even have to use the scroll wheel to select her. But yeah, let's get on to the next part of our episode, which is about the team ups. So this is really the first time now with these team ups that we're seeing what the devs are up to when it comes to balancing, adding, taking away, basically everything related to that. There's some new ones. There's some ones that no longer exist. There's a lot of like player shifts and who's in what. This is super cool to see because, as we've mentioned multiple times in multiple episodes, like team ups is something that is extremely unique to Marvel Rivals. It's one of the most interesting parts of the game that I think is a big consideration into metas and what team comps you want to pick and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot here that we're gonna get into.
Yeah, we've been saying for months now that we really
Hmm.
can't wait to see how the team ups get shaken up. And now I think we've got a better idea from this, that they're not talking completely wiping the slate clean every season.
Yeah.
Um, they shuffled things around to make sure. I went through and checked this week that to make sure that everyone still has one team up that they're a part of at least.
Mm.
There's a couple that have two, but every character is represented in a team up of some kind. Um, and they had to do some things to make sure that that was still true with the new ones they added in, right? So I think we got a good idea now. Like, they're going to be adding some new ones and taking some away for a time. We'll see if
Yeah.
they bring them back. I assume they probably
Yeah.
will at some point. But
Well, and when you consider that seasons are going to be only 2 months long,
Yeah.
starting with season three, like I think we're gonna see a lot of team up shakeups, like really consistently, which again is just exciting. It doesn't allow one of the worst things that can happen to a multiplayer game like this is complacency and stagnation. Like
Mhm.
these kinds of things shift up the metas and like exciting gameplay changing ways, which is one of the best ways you can do with it rather than just like balancing a couple numbers here and there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the way to look at this, when you look at the characters that are the team up recipients, and honestly, you can kind of say Cap got an ability too, because when we get to their team up, so I'll add him in. They essentially just added 6 new abilities to the game, between all the characters that are benefiting from new team ups that didn't exist before. Um, so in the span of 3 months or however, like they're thinking they have the bandwidth to add 6 abilities to existing characters. So
Yeah.
that I think that's going to be the thing that determines how many team ups get shaken up is
Hmm.
the amount that they can make new ones within the given time.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So let's dive into the what's what. So two team ups were removed completely, and those are the Magneto Witch team up, which
Rip.
man, rip man, that freaking sword that Magneto got was so good. And yeah, we'll see with that damage reduction now with Witch. But she did get a new team up, so exciting stuff there. And Magneto's part of a new team up too. So
And she
um,
got damage buffs to compensate.
yeah,
So
it's true.
yeah.
It's true. And then the other one was the Thor Cap Storm team up. So that one, unfortunately, honestly, I didn't see get a lot of play. Like I know when I saw Thor come up, I would, and there was like a Vanguard or a DPS slot available, I would like pretty much always try and lock in one of those two because I think it was so
Mhm.
much fun. But that one's gone away, and yeah. Um, a couple team ups that were modified. So from Rocket's ammo team up, Bucky was removed from that one. So now only the Punisher benefits from the infinite ammo deployable that Rocket can put down. Another one, sad to me, but yeah, it's a bittersweet moment. Namor has said goodbye to Luna, and he no longer gets an ice octopus. So that team up is over for him. Jeff still gets to benefit from Luna's ice fields, but Namor has moved on to the Brotherhood of the Gamma Bros. Another one is so Magic's anchor team up, the time reversal thing that she has with Black Panther and Psylocke. Well, now Psylocke is no longer a part of that team up, but she's gone onto bigger and brighter things, I think. And then Doctor Strange, of course, in yet another kind of poke to his damage output. They finally said that's enough of the Gamma brothers with Doctor Strange, with having 2 Vanguards, and he is finding a new home as the anchor for Scarlet Witch. So let's get into the abilities. So we'll kick it off with Cap and Bucky. So these team ups will have different names depending on which character you're looking at, but we're just giving one of them. So this is Bucky's. It's Stellar Impact. So inspired by Captain America's resolve, Winter Soldier can leap to the aid of a designated ally, slamming the ground with his mechanical arm to deal damage to nearby foes. Additionally, Captain America and Winter Soldier can interact with each other once both parties confirm. The duo collides and unleashes a shockwave that deals damage and inflicts slow on enemies. So this is one of those super cool like wombo combo abilities. I say one of those, but I think is this the first where you can like select to do it with no, what's another
No,
example?
the fastball special, you have to select to hop on
No,
to
no,
Hulk or the things.
that's not what right. That's not what I mean though. Where this is like two distinct things where you can choose to like dive to
Oh,
an ally or the two of you can do something together because you can like Cap doesn't have to be involved in this necessarily.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Looking
really
at
cool.
this, I think looking through all the other ones, I think this is the first one that really is 2 abilities in one.
That's really cool. This is the one I feel like I need to see the more of in
Yeah.
game to understand. So I mean, you love to see the bromance. Cap and Buck, like, dang, that just like puts a smile on my face to see them get a team up. I want like more friendship lore team ups, please. Like that's super cool. I also just like don't play Bucky or Cap very much, so my instinct is like, I don't know. Inflicting damage and slowing seems really cool. Being able to like get out and dive to an ally, or maybe like protect your backline.
That's what I was gonna say. For
For
Bucky,
that,
when he's not doing it to Cap, this feels like a peeling tool.
yeah, and that is cool. My only question with that, as someone who, I've played him maybe, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes. I feel like, because Bucky's almost like defined squishy. He's 275 health. So does he really? I know that he has health increasing abilities, but does he want to be like in that same position as Cap in the enemy backline, like deep in the fight like that? I feel like he'd get
So,
deleted.
holding aside your question about Cap for a second, he can get pretty beefy because he gains, I think it's 100 bonus health for any time he uses one of his abilities. That's not the primary, and it
100
doesn't.
bonus health, really?
Yeah, I think it's 100. Maybe it's 50, but it doesn't
Still,
last super long. But it's enough that you can take quite a bit more than the squishy. Um, so for peeling, for the one that goes to another ally and sends you back, does damage to whoever's attacking, your ally nearby, and then launches you right in the middle of the fight, you're definitely going to be a better target than the
okay.
squishy than the support is if you're doing that. So giving him a peeling tool, I think, is pretty cool because he ends up kind of being all over the place, especially when you use your ult. This could be a good way to escape out of that when you finally. Well, no, because usually you're trying to get the last one that whole time. But for Cap, the distinct thing about the Cap one when they do it together is that they end up in the middle of where the two of them were. He doesn't go to Cap. They end up both rushing towards each other and hitting in the middle. So I don't
Mm,
think you want to be in the back line with Cap, but from what I can tell, what this is going to end up doing is you're playing sort of in your own team's back line. Cap is playing in their back line, and you do it towards each other. You're going to end up right in the middle of the battle where the two
yeah.
teams are meeting and do the damage. And then that's the one that gives you slow on enemies too. So I think
Yeah.
this could be a pretty cool setup for Bucky's ult.
Well, and you know what? That just made me realize too. You talking about that? So his passive, I just pulled it up real quick. So his passive, ceaseless charge. So his sidearm reloads automatically when he uses an ability with his bionic arm, and he gets that bonus health, which is 40 or 50 based on which ability he uses.
Okay.
However, he's definitely using his bionic arm in this team up. So I wonder if that's going to be one of the hidden bonuses that isn't listed, because they never list numbers. And we've
Yeah.
noticed that they don't often list like health bonus
Right.
effects too. So I
Right.
wonder if he will get a health boost. And because they don't have a set number, it's 40 for one and 50 for the other. Who knows? It could be an even larger boost when using this to get to Captain America or an ally. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I think
now I'm
yeah.
interested. Yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption that they're gonna give him the health boost for this because otherwise it would be the only ability on his bar that doesn't give him one, right?
Hmm.
Other than just shooting his primary, right? So it, yeah, I would expect that it's probably going to give them health and do the reload. And if that's the case, then this is really good because getting
Yeah.
that
Right.
instant reload is so important for him. That's why that team up with Rocket was so good. Um, and since he's
Yeah.
not going to
Dang.
have that now, like this can get a little bit of that back if that's the case.
Okay, this changes things. I went from being kind of like this was my least interesting team up to now I want to see the tech.
Yeah, I think I still agree with you that I think this is probably the most like up in the air about how good it's going to be on its own, like as an ability,
Yeah.
not
Uh-huh.
because of like the meta position of the characters, but like the ability itself. But
Yep.
I think it has a chance at being pretty useful.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, let's go to the next one. We've got Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange are teaming up now. Doctor Strange is the anchor. This one is called Arcane Order. And
Hmm.
from Scarlet Witch's side, you get an ability called Sorcery Surge.
Oh baby.
It says Doctor Strange shares his arcane mastery, replacing Scarlet Witch's Chthonian Burst, which is her right click, with Mystic Burst upon activation. Hold down the attack button to unleash a rapid, relentless salvo of magical missiles in the target direction. So this is super cool.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not gonna play the game that we play all the time. Of is this the only? But this is definitely a rare thing for them to have an ability
Uh-huh.
that then just replaces an ability on your bar for a
Yeah.
given amount of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but essentially, so it lasts for 7 seconds. From watching the reveal streams, we can tell it lasts for 7 seconds once you hit the button saying, "Hey, I want this upgraded right click instead." And instead of having the 4 charges that you can shoot out for those 7 seconds, when you hold down right click, you basically just beam out a whole bunch of magic really fast.
Yeah.
Um, and then it has like a 30-second cooldown when it's over. But hello,
Hi.
um, what makes this crazy is you can left click while you're doing it. That was
Yeah, that
confirmed by multiple streamers who were trying it.
yeah.
You hold down both buttons and you're a fire in your laser and to pull an ancient meme out.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
looks gross. That
Yeah.
I was watching, I think it was I forget who it was, but I was watching one of the previous streams and they were testing this with the Hulk in the training grounds and they melted him in 3 seconds. That's a Hulk.
Absolutely vile.
It was
And,
gross.
and you know what's even more crazy about that is because of her rework now, where her left click no longer does percent damage, but does increased flat damage.
Mhm.
Her melting a Hulk in 3 seconds is even more impressive than it would be like with her percent damage. That means
Mhm.
that if she's melting Hulk in 3 seconds, she's melting squishies in 1 second.
Oh,
Like
it was disgusting. Yes,
that
Luna was
is
just like
so
dying.
crazy. I
So
the only other thing I'll say to like potentially put a I bet this can't be, but there was one person who I was watching who was like a top 500 player, and he was like, is this a bug? Like, is there potential for this to be a bug? Because being able to like use two abilities at the same time is extremely unusual, if not like
right,
completely exclusive to this ability.
right, yeah. So Scarlet Witch, however, her right click that this is replacing
Yeah, yeah,
was
you can
one of
hold
the
them
only
both,
examples in the game where you could hold down both, and it would do it. It would just
but it
do
would
it
alternate,
and
right?
alternate.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
in this case, what's happening is you're not really doing anything. There's these like Doctor Strange portal looking things over your shoulder that are shooting this magic out.
True.
So at least in the way they're animating it, which doesn't speak to the actual mechanics of it, they make it seem like it's like you're just setting up a cannon that's shooting over
Yeah.
your shoulder, right?
Yep.
So I that would be a really big bug for them to have overlooked is like we're building a team up. We're
Yeah,
spending
yeah,
all this time testing it and we didn't notice that you could use your primary ability while doing it.
yeah.
Um
Yeah, no, for sure,
I
for sure.
yeah.
But I guess more, yeah, more than a genuine question of is it like that's how powerful it is that
Yeah.
people are
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
wait, is this legal? Like,
Right.
yeah, this is
I will
crazy.
make it legal. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so this is why I was so excited about Scarlet Witch and had her as my biggest winner for the patch.
yeah.
Is they took a character that everyone was saying, well, the problem is she doesn't really have any burst damage, and gave her every 30 seconds just delete people for 7 seconds. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
this is going to be really good. My only hesitation with this team up is that it requires Doctor Strange,
yeah,
and we had Doctor Strange as the biggest loser in this patch.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I think this team up is disgusting. But the question is, are you going to see it enough? Because you might play Witch and not get it. And I still think Witch is better in this patch than in the previous one, which we'll talk about next week. But
Mhm.
I'm not sure that that's going to overcome the witch tax we were talking about, where people are going to say, "Oh, she's bad," right? So I kind of wonder if you're still going to get a whole bunch of, "We don't have a strange, so don't play witch," you know.
Yeah,
Um, but
and
if we see enough strange, then I think this is
yeah.
going to be gross.
And like you said too, Strange is still going to be good no matter what. Like there isn't a way to make Strange bad. I just think there's so much going on for so many other Vanguards, and
Yeah.
there's been such a like consistent, genuinely like small like trickle of nerfs to Strange that like I
Mhm.
think this is going to be the season where we see a bit more of the drop off. But hey, if this witch thing ends up being as crazy as it really seems like it is, like that alone may be a mitigating factor to his like potentially lower pick rate.
Yeah, I agree with you that the big question is, a lot of the other tanks are getting good stuff and they nerfed him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean to point out specifically, we're talking about team ups right now. There's four tanks, there's four vanguards
Uh-huh.
that are in these team ups. And one of them is Strange, but there's three other vanguards that they're team ups.
Yeah.
They're getting new team ups where they're either two of them are anchors, right?
Mhm.
And Magneto's getting a busted ability we're about to talk about for
Yeah.
him. Um, so there's so much Vanguard feasting like that. I don't know. Yeah, that is definitely the question mark.
Yep, yep. Well, let's speaking of Magneto and Vanguards, Emma Frost's anchor team up. So this team up includes Magneto and Psylocke, who both got ousted from their previous team up abilities this season. Magneto's version is called Magnetic Resonance. So Emma Frost can form a mental link with Magneto and Psylocke, calling on her to create illusionary projections. When together, Emma Frost will create a mental projection of Magneto and Psylocke, forming a duplicate illusion in the enemy's perspective that confuses foes by moving and casting abilities on its own. Okay, are you ready for this? This is this might be the like oh man. I think this has the potential to be the team up. Like I think this could be the new Gamma Bros. And there already is a new Gamma Bros, but like she can use it for both of them, like both Magneto and Psylocke can use it at the same time. So you can turn a 3-person battle into a 5-person battle in a split second. So these clones, what they do is they mirror your movements. So if you move left, they move right. If you move for or no. Sorry, if they
They
move
copy your
they
movements.
copy your movements. Yeah, not
Yeah,
mirror.
yeah.
If you move left, they move left. You move forward, they move forward. You cast an ability, they cast an ability. Now, they do damage. We just don't know what the exact percentage is. It certainly isn't full damage, and they cannot use your ultimate ability. They'll just like auto attack instead. But Magneto can put up 2 shields side by side. He can
Yeah.
put up 2 bubbles. Like Psylocke can have multiple dashes, multiple shurikens. Like there are so many things that this can do, and also you are not illusory to the enemy team, so they don't know which one is which. It
Right.
just looks like there's 2 Magnetos and 2 Psylocks. So
Yeah,
there's so much here.
when it casts it, it splits you. So like when it gets cast, you
Yeah.
get put almost like a Loki clone being put in a location wherever you were. You and the clone end up randomly selected on one side or the other of where you were
Yeah.
next to each other.
Ugh.
So you end up in formation too. They have to play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Magical Hats thing to figure out which one is the real you. And on top of that, you're doing a little bit of extra damage at least. But I mean, with Psylocke specifically, the like right click shuriken dash combo when you're both doing it, I mean that's gonna be that's gonna be like insta kills.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I also like so Magneto he has always been one of the best tanks in the game, and I think again with the strange downturn, that sounds funny. He's even more ascendant right now, and adding Emma, who seems like everything about her seems like she's going to be a fantastic pick. Man, I mean, this is getting ahead to some of our meta thoughts on this season, but I think this is going to be a dominant team up,
Yeah.
especially, Psylocke. I'm just not good enough with her or like understand her well enough to be able to say like where she's going to land this season. But I've heard people talk about how she is in a good position. But even
Mhm.
without Psylocke, like just Emma and Magneto, dang, if you've got those two on your front line, you're in a good place.
Yeah, I think Psylocke is gonna benefit from this a lot. Um, just because you can burst out so much damage all at the exact same time.
Yeah,
Because your shurikens, when you dash through someone, deal damage to them
yeah,
coming back while you're dashing. Now, if you double that, it won't be double damage because the clone
sure,
isn't
sure,
gonna
yeah,
do as
yeah.
much. But if you're adding on top of that, I mean, I don't know how much you're gonna do, but it might be enough. I want to test this immediately
Oh yeah,
to see if it's enough
yeah,
to kill Luna before she can heal while she's in her ult. Um, because Luna ult doesn't keep you from dying. What it does is heal you so fast,
yeah,
right? So if you can burst someone down at 250 pretty much instantly, or 275,
yeah. She
then
dies.
she's dead, right? So I want to test that immediately because especially if that's the case, this is just disgusting. And you already have Emma stopping Luna from countering anyway on
Hmm.
that team. This is going to be gross. My only question on this that might not work very well, that seems a little awkward, is Magneto's bubbles.
Yeah, I
Uh,
did wonder that.
because if they always cast it on the same target as you do, I think. Maybe they'll have coded something in to have Magneto bubble someone else. If you bubble yourself as Magneto, then that's going to be great. But if you're trying to bubble a teammate, I think you're just going to get your bubble and the other one's going to be wasted, I would imagine.
Well, and if you do bubble yourself, will it be great? Because will you only get one bubble?
I would
Will it?
imagine that if you bubble yourself, your clone is going to bubble itself.
Oh, bubble. It's right, right, right. Bubble itself. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Duh.
then that's good because now you're both lasting longer.
Yeah. That will require some testing too, because that would be kind of crazy. Yeah, if you could just like instantly protect two teammates from an instant kill ult or something like that. Like, wow. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. But
More myth busting
don't
required.
expect I don't expect the teammate one to work with two
Yeah.
targets, but yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
this
makes
has a
sense.
30-second cooldown as well, and I'm not sure how long the clones live for.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
stop watch that.
No, no, no. But looking forward to that one a lot.
Speaking of looking forward to things, this one I'm so excited about. Um, all right, Namor is the new Gamma Bro taking over for Doctor Strange.
Heck yeah.
Uh, and yeah, so his Gamma Bro ability is called Gamma Monstro, and it says Hulk charges Iron Man into more with gamma radiation. We'll skip the Iron Man part because it's exactly the same as normal. But it says when Namor receives the radiation, he will summon an extra Gamma Monstro, which will continuously fire gamma rays at locked on enemies. The longer the rays hit, the higher the damage. Okay, this thing is a public menace. Uh, get out, get out your Jameson pitchforks
Yeah.
at this squid,
Right, right.
because this is a void ray beam, just like Emma's primary that we just talked about. Makes sense why they added it this season. They
Yeah,
just made the
yeah,
tech to make
yeah.
that ability. They added it
Someone was
to
playing
squid as well.
StarCraft too.
Yeah. Um, and it does a ton of damage. So this squid lives for 12 seconds and only
Mm.
has a 15-second cooldown. So that's
Mm-mm-mm.
almost 50% uptime,
Yeah,
right? As soon as it dies, you get 15 seconds, then it's up for 12. The regular one lasts for 8 seconds, right? So this is quite a bit longer.
yeah.
Um, the tests that I was watching them do, it almost killed a Groot on its own, just with its 12-second lifespan. Just sitting there, like, of course it hit every single time, so
Yeah,
you can do the math, but the regular squid does about 275 damage in its 8 seconds of being alive if it hits every single time, right? And it's doing projectiles. It's gonna have a harder time hitting everything. This thing is doing a beam and it's lasting longer. It does about 650 damage. Like, the Groot was down to a sliver but didn't die, right? Like, this is
yeah,
gross.
yeah. Yeah, the thing that I don't know if you know the answer to this. I did watch this in the practice range, but for some reason I didn't see or anybody try it. Do you know, is there a bonus damage for when he uses his right click like there was with the frozen one and his regular
Mm.
monstro spawns? I kind of think there isn't.
Yeah, I would imagine there probably isn't. I didn't notice anything like that, but because I don't know how it would fire faster because it's a beam.
Yeah, or just do like a big burst of damage or something. But
Yeah,
um,
there might be. I'm not sure.
I'm I'm guessing that there wouldn't be, and that's like a little bit of how they balanced it. So like before with the frost one out and your two regular octopuses, you could tag an enemy and they would all do like that quick initial burst of damage, and you
Hmm.
could like burn someone down really quickly. Maybe this one does over twice as much damage, but maybe you don't get that like nuke effect as much.
Sure.
But regardless, that damage is absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
this is one you're going to want to set up in a wall in a big team fight and let it just like look down on everything and just keep finding targets, and like you want to make sure that it hits as long as it possibly can during its duration,
yeah,
rather than it being about like bursting a single person down,
right.
right? Like,
Well, and with that uptime, again, depending on the kind of metas we see this is tough because this gets into like so much of like the meta conversation depth. So Namor has to have Hulk. Hulk is a Vanguard. If you have Hulk as a Vanguard, you probably aren't going to have like Emma Frost Magneto, like that team up at the same time. It's unlikely you're going to have three Vanguards. So I wonder what this will play out, because what I could see is if you have Hulk Namor and the enemy is playing Magneto Emma, and you have this thing on the ground, no one can hold up a like consistent block to damage for like a really long time.
mhm.
And you can like drop this at your feet if your other tank has like a shield, is like Doctor Strange or something that has a shield. I could see Hulk, Namor, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch being super freaking nasty, because this thing's just
Yeah,
going to be shooting out past that shield, doing consistent ramping damage to people, and it's going to get really nasty.
yeah, I agree. Um, I will point out that the combination on the Gamma Bros changing. We used to have two tanks, one duelist, and now
Mhm.
we have one Vanguard and two duelists on it, which might be easier to pull off to get the full three-person combo, because we're in a season where there's a Doctor Strange team up that's really interesting. There's a Cap team up that's really interesting. And then there's Emma Frost that's a Vanguard that everyone's going to be trying to play. So it might be a lot easier to get this one or the Doctor Strange one off than some other, if they had still had two Vanguards. So
Yeah.
I like that choice. Also, this might be really interesting to do with the Captain America and Bucky
Mm.
um, team up, because you've got Cap and Hulk, which will both be dive tanks then. And you can
Yeah.
kind of
Oh
go
shoot.
for, yeah. So if you have Namor holding down your back line or pushing up with the Gamma Squid and trying to, get in there too. Like it could be really interesting what we see.
There's a lot of different potential. The only like there's a couple detractors. You don't get the slow anymore, which genuinely did have some really good utility. The other big thing that concerns me is just like the pick rate. Like Luna's pick rate is like 4.5 times Hulk's pick rate. Um, like Hulk is sitting at under 5% right now, I think. He is, yeah, 3.9%. And so I, it was very often that I could get the utility out of that ice octopus because it was so likely that Luna was going to be picked, because she's
Sure.
widely considered to be one of, if not the best strategist in the game. So I hope that I still find enough room in the team comp to get this ability going.
I think you'll get it more than you think you will, because the Hulk buffs that we'll talk about next week,
Right,
like
right, right.
Hulk got buffed quite a bit in
Yeah.
a way that like if you're playing Hulk, that's gonna feel way better, and he's gonna be way harder
Hmm.
to kill
It's
and
true.
get way more value. So,
It's true.
but the problem is so many other Vanguards are
I
feasting
know.
this
I
this
know.
patch too. So it really, that is the big question for me, is what
Yep.
Vanguards end up being played the most, and I think
Yep.
Emma is one of them. And so, is it just Magneto because of the team up, or are people gonna try other team ups here?
Yeah.
And because all of them have a Vanguard that you have to
Right,
have in
right,
order to
right,
make it
right.
happen. The Vanguard is the anchor to all of them,
Yeah.
which that was really clever on their part, by the way.
Hmm.
They're seeing people playing one Vanguard, people complaining about it, so they're
Yeah.
starting to make every new team up here this season
Heck
has
yeah.
an anchor who's a Vanguard to push you towards having two.
Yeah, yeah,
or
yep.
3? Will we see
Mm,
3?
that would be freaking crazy. But who
People were doing
knows?
that at high ranks.
Yeah,
That was a big thing at high ranks towards the end of season 1.5. So let's get into that.
yeah,
Meta
yeah.
predictions.
Yep. So, I it's so tough. I mean, we've been talking about it a lot. I think that Emma and Magneto are going to be really dominant. I think that team up is going to be huge. We're going to see a lot of that. I think with uh, what I've heard about Psylocke's position right now, that she will be a part of that too. So I think there's going to be we're going to see like a good balance team
Hmm.
come up rather than like full dive or like full anchor, that kind of thing. Like you already have that encouraged through having the anchor of Magneto and the mostly brawl of Emma. So I think that's going to be really big. I also think that Penny is going to see like a lot of play. And I think that I don't know like what kind of comp is going to build around her, but I've heard even
Pirate
like
ship.
hey, I hope so. That'd be freaking awesome. Um, but I've heard even pro players say like the pro players when you listen to them talk, they'll differentiate. They won't even mention quick play, but they'll differentiate between like ranked and like meta pro play. And
Uh-huh.
I've heard even some pro players talking about how like having Penny in pro would have been like laughable, even though she was like really good in like across all levels in rank play. And they're like, this might be the time where you see her come in. It depends on how consistently you can hit those crits, and how big of a difference that 20% movement speed increase while doing her primary attack is. So those are the two big ones, like positive ones. The one that I think we'll see a lot less of is the Guardian terror of Adam and Mantis and Star Lord. I think with a couple strategic nerfs there, that's
Yeah.
something that I think is gonna probably retire a bit.
Yeah, I think obviously we'll see a lot of Emma. Like even after the initial release hype fades, I think
Yeah,
she looks legitimately really powerful. And that team up, like whether it's Magneto or Psylocke, I think is going to be pretty brutal.
yeah,
I am I think we will see plenty of Magneto. I don't know that it's going to be an insta lock like of those two every time,
mm,
only because they have elevated so many other vanguards in
it's
this
true.
patch around all of these team ups that there's like you can still get plenty of value out of Emma's new playstyle and the new things that she can do without the team
Yeah,
up. And so it may just be that we see her and then we see a Doctor Strange or we see a Hulk or we see a Penny or we see a Cap like based on the other team up kind of filling in, and
yeah,
then Psylocke gets gets in with the team up if anyone.
yep.
Um, but honestly, that is what keeps making me think. Like, it sounds crazy to say this after last season, it was 3 strategists and 1 Vanguard all the time,
Mm,
or 2. But like, at least in the games we play in, like it was always like, I'm alone on Vanguard. I legitimately think at least at high level play, you're gonna see a lot of 3 Vanguard,
yeah. Ah,
because
I
there's
can
too
see it.
many good options. There's just so much there, and it was already starting to happen quite a bit
Sure.
towards the end of season 1.5. So I think now that they're getting another really good Vanguard, and all of them pretty much are getting buffs other than Strange. Sorry, uh,
I know.
like
My
there's
boy.
going to be too much to pick from.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that just my closing thought to this. Vanguards more than any other role really like define the meta. Like metas are built around the vanguards more than they are the duelists, more than they are the strategists. With so many vanguards getting such prominent, buffs and team ups and things like that. I really this excites me. I really hope that we see a really like shaky meta. I hope that
Yeah,
we
me
see
too.
like a lot of experimentation and change and like counter picks and plays. That's the thing that gets me like that's one of the things that I love the most about this game, even in Pro League. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think speaking to that, like the other thing that Emma's going to warp is the fact that she is really this brawl anchor hybrid. She's going to be hard to figure out how to deal with. And so I think you might see, especially at the beginning, you might see a whole bunch of experimentation of, do we try to do flyers and see if we can outrange her beam? Do we try to do poke and like try to, keep her from getting up close? Like, I think you're going to see a whole bunch of going all over the place, trying to figure it out. And then if you throw in, like, if her team has a different Vanguard, like, that's going to completely change that comp, because she's kind of more versatile, can fit into anything that's going on. So it's gonna be crazy for quite a while.
It's gonna be a freaking fun season, gang. And you know what? It's gonna be a season in style. There's gonna be some high fashion coming at you quick. Of course, to be expected at an event hosted by the one and only Emma Frost, the White Queen of fashion herself. We got another dope battle pass coming right at you. I just like, all of these skins go so hard, and like what we get out of the battle pass in this game is absolutely nuts. Like I have been a sucker for many games. I've bought more battle passes than I would care to admit. But like, this is not a hyperbolic statement. I know I've said this with like a lot of different things in this game. I have never seen so many high quality skins. We're getting 9 like beautifully crafted skins in here with this
the other
pass.
one.
The other, is there 10?
What's the other one? Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought it skipped one. Doesn't it go?
It skips one, but one page of the battle pass has 2 skins on
That's
it.
right, 2 skins. My bad. Yeah, 10. No.
Wow,
Wait. Let me go back. Squirrel Girl's hair is kind of weird. But yeah, 10.
That's fair. Yeah.
10 like beautifully crafted skins. I saw there was an Overwatch 2 video about they had like a Norse battle pass, and I've mentioned this before. I'm a big Norse boy. The battle pass had like 3 skins related to that kind of thing, and then all of the other ones were like paid premium skins. But it was just someone going through each one and being like, man, like what are they doing? Like I just, it's so frustrating that we have, a themed battle pass and like very little of it relates to it at all. And then the ones that we do get like aren't as cool as the ones that are coming up in the store. Like every single one of these skins could have been store exclusive skins. They're that good.
Yeah, and there's only 3 of them that don't fit the theme. And the ones that I think there's only one that, like, Squirrel Girl again, just feels kind of random in here with all the rest of them.
She just refuses to conform. She's a punk like that. She's not going to dress up for a gala. Right. She's Squirrel Girl, dang it. She defeats Dr. Doom off screen.
But everyone else is dressed up except for Magic and Psylocke. But they are filling in on the X-Men theme of this because... this is a very X-Men heavy thing. So these skins are going to be super fun. We're just to run through on the Battle Pass thing. So, like how long into the season you're waiting before you can get one of these, if you're excited about it. The first page, the equivalent to that Loki null skin that we got last time, the big epic one at the beginning, is this Spider-Man skin. And then the first page also has the Psylocke X-Men outfit. Second page is Squirrel Girl. Then you got Magic on the 3rd page, Black Widow on the 4th, Luna Snows on the 5th page. 6th page you don't have a skin because it's the gallery card. Mm-hmm. And then you have Hulk on page 7, Cap on page 8, Iron Fist on page 9, and all the way at the end, the other legendary skin that you're waiting for is the Cloak and Dagger one, which I think I'm super excited about that one. That one looks super cool.
I know. I just bought my very first skin was the Cloak and Dagger Mobsters, and I don't regret it at all. It's an awesome skin. I use it exclusively, but now I'll have 2 that I have to go
back and forth between. Yeah.
I hope I don't know if they do, because I don't think I have multiple skins on anybody yet, but it'd be cool to have like a randomizer option when you go into game to see. There might actually be one, but
there's I mean, you look at these, I think I've got 5 of them that I'm instantly having this be my main skin on this character.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool for just a single battle pass season to be like 5 characters have their skin for at least until they come up with something even cooler. But
yeah. But along with that, so for progression in the battle pass, the mission system has been revamped. So there's weekly missions now, and it balances out instead of the just like daily and monthly challenges that they've had, and then like event specific ones. They're reducing the amount of monthly challenges and bringing in four new weekly challenges every week. Still going to be the same chrono token distribution, but the way they talked about it, this is supposed to make it like more consistent and help people get them like more regularly. There were some of the feedback they got was that there were people who like weren't getting enough chrono tokens to finish the battle pass, which I'm not entirely sure like what leads to that specifically, but this is partially an address to that issue. One of the things I was a little bit concerned about when I heard about this is I really like the monthly challenges. As someone who like, I know there's more than just me out there. Like, there's been a couple weeks that I haven't been able to play like at all. So weekly challenges in other games are typically like you have the 7 days. If you don't do it, it's gone. I've liked that the monthly challenges have lasted for so long. However, I think that they're probably going to let the weekly challenges hang on a bit longer than just, strictly 7 days, because the daily challenges are 48 hours, I believe.
Something like that, 48 or 72 or something.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that the weekly ones last a little bit longer as well. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this works.
I think as far as I can tell, I don't know this. This is speculation, but from seeing, on the previous stream, they had 5 daily, 4 weekly, and 2 monthly challenges just kind of sitting there to start with. The monthly challenges, I think part of what they were saying about people not being able to finish the battle pass because of them, that weeklies would help with, is the monthly challenges have a cap at how many you can have sitting there, and they take a lot longer to get done, right? So just like the dailies, like if you don't finish any of them, like they're gonna keep stacking up to a point, but then there's a cap on the amount of slots. There's like that for the monthly ones, and I'm sure there will be like that for the weekly ones. But with the monthly ones, since they're so long and they take so much effort, and they last for so long, like if you miss a week or two, you're not getting any more monthly challenges, and that's a lot of coins just disappearing straight up. So I think if they add a third category, whatever it ended up being, and they ended up choosing weeklies, which makes sense. It's in between the two.
Yeah.
That just gives you more slots to have things build up.
Yeah.
And also I think, they're trying to subtly tell you, hey, like play and do these challenges each week.
Yeah.
So that you're not storing up everything and losing things, because you're losing the dailies when you haven't done them in a while and stuff like that. So they do have to get you playing regularly. That is a big part of how they make money, is
For sure.
But I think they're going to do it well. And yeah, if the weekly challenges are lasting for a week or two and there's enough slots that you can build up 2 weeks of them without just missing out on them, then that will definitely make it more consistent for people and have more chrono tokens sitting there available for you in missions when you come back every week.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the distribution, because I do remember the beginning of season 1. I felt like I was getting things so slowly. And then as time went on, it felt like it ramped up. But I don't know what it is about the way that the challenges come in, but I think because they trickle in. Like if you get 4 right away at the beginning of each new week, that's a bigger chunk that you can bite out and get a bunch of stuff out of it.
Yeah. I that combined with they said that the proportion of hero specific missions is being reduced too. Like I think all of that together could lead to being able to get the stuff more consistently and easily. So
I'm actually bummed about the hero specific missions being less frequent, because I
really?
like those, because it makes me learn characters that I don't normally play.
Yeah. See, that's not a problem that I have, because variety is the spice of life, and I like to try a bunch of different people, except for those that I have 0 seconds on. Anyway, we do have another seasonal event coming as well, called the Cerebro Database. Again, teasing Professor X. It's Xavier. He's coming. You heard it here first, or probably like
Third.
50th. So with this, we get to earn a new free costume. Again, another like very uniquely designed one. Mantis as the Flora Maiden. So really leading into her kind of nature-ish aspect.
I
Yeah.
really like this skin. I'm probably going to use this on me. I'm using the galactic one
Oh, I
right
love
now,
the Galactic
which
one.
I really like, but it doesn't feel like Mantis because it's
Mm.
very like not any of
Yeah,
her
yeah. It's the opposite of
naturey
her.
things. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. So I'm actually really excited about this like forest nymph kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I'm probably going to use this on her when I get it.
Sure. Yeah. And then there is one more thing too. So there's also an exclusive bonus seasonal reward for completing 9 matches. It's going to get you another free costume, another very freaking cool one. Honestly, probably my favorite of hers yet. The
Yep,
Chaos Gown for Scarlet Witch. Um,
and a nameplate.
and a nameplate. Right. Now, what's the time frame for this? This is what I don't remember.
I'm not sure. So initially, they just say April 11th.
Yeah.
So at first I thought that it was like play on launch day and get this, which
Yeah.
made me nervous because that like it's such a cool skin and like that would be a big FOMO thing for them to do that they don't normally
Yeah.
do.
Right,
But
right.
the way that they said it in the patch notes is they said this season also brings bonus seasonal rewards, complete 9 matches to receive the free costume. So they didn't say anything about a time frame and they just said it comes with the season. So I wonder if this is a new thing where they're just gonna try to get people to come back for a season, and at least play 9 games, see if you like the new season before you go back to Call of Duty or whatever you're playing instead. You know what I mean? Like, I think it might be like the login bonus kind of attempt to get people to not completely put the game away.
That would be sick. I'm honestly like I love all of their meta progression things that they've
Yeah.
done. Like I hope they do another. I can't remember what it's called, but I hope they do another like mini Mac and Cheeks Venom Battle Pass thing too. Like
Yeah.
that stuff. It's a good way for them to monetize, which keeps things going for a game that we love. So I'm totally down for that. And I mean, and this is free. Like these
Right.
two
It's
skins
just
that we
straight
just talked
free.
about
Yeah.
are straight up free. So
This
um,
will be my Scarlet Witch skin, by the way. Last
yeah,
week,
yeah,
the Hero Spotlight, we were talking about how I didn't like the hair on the other one. This doesn't do
yeah.
that, but it's a very similar costume, and I think the reds are brighter. I like it.
Mm-hmm,
This is
mm-hmm.
what I'm going to be using.
Yep. And they really did a good job incorporating her like classic horns in a
Yeah.
unique way. Yeah, she just looks really cool. Well, we've got a couple things left. So the rest of this episode is just going to be kind of going over some of the more general updates with like rank changes and the patch notes. So let's dive into that. So the first thing is going to be the ranked reset. So based on your final season 1.5 rank, ranks will be demoted by 9 divisions. So for example, if you ended season 1.5 at Diamond 1, your season 2 journey begins at Silver 1. I I only have like one thing to say about this. I assume this will not keep up with season 3. That would be pretty wild to have your rank reset so hard every 2
Yeah.
months. That might feel a little Sisyphean with just like the endless grind. So
Yeah. I think they're doing this because they made the changes to how much your individual performance affects ranked, which we're about to get to, I think. Um,
yeah,
Yeah, we talk about that at the end. Because they changed how your rank happens, I think they wanted to reset everyone a little bit more.
yeah,
Because this is more than they said they were going to last time.
right.
Um, and I would imagine that, unless they change the rank thing again. But theoretically, if you don't belong in the rank that you're in, you should climb faster under the new system.
Yeah.
So, it might not be as much of boulder pushing as up the hill as it feels like when you see nine ranks.
Yeah. Hopefully not. I'm an advocate for placement matches myself,
I agree.
but
I
we'll
agree
see. We'll
100%.
we'll see how it goes. Maybe with season 3, they're so good at listening to feedback. So if this feels terrible, I expect that they'll address it right away. But
Yep.
we already did talk about the new ranked rewards, but just to recap, so we get that new costume for Emma Frost, which is the Golden Diamond, and then of course there's the Crest of Honor for Grandmaster, Celestial, Eternity, and Top 500. So another new interesting update is the minimum level required for new players to participate in ranked has been adjusted to 15. So it was 10 previously. So this is a 50% buff, nerf. Depends on how you want to look at it. I see it as a buff because honestly, like, get your practice in before you jump in. And I think hopefully too, it's going to prevent some of that smurfing from happening.
It won't be as easy to start up a
Yeah,
alternate account and get in.
yeah. I can't say that like I don't know that I've had a ranked game where I would have said like, oh man, this guy's for sure like a Smurf. But I know that in every yeah, okay. I'm sure it has, and I just haven't noticed. But I know
had a few
a lot
people
of
who are like 64-2 and stuff like
gosh. No, I guess I'm lucky I didn't get to deal with that. But
and like the rest of their team was not doing that well, right? Like
yeah. But my favorite thing about this whole ranked update, pick and ban will now come into play starting from gold 3 rather than diamond.
Yes.
Heck yes. We get to experience the game, Nick.
I know. I like every change they make to rank, but this is 100% the one that I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Combined with the thing that we'll talk about in a couple changes, which will help us get to the point of being able to do the pick and ban.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a close second. Number 5 for all you absolutely sweaty tryhards listening to the podcast. So when a team includes players from Eternity or One Above All, you can only solo or duo queue. So no 6 stacking as the gods that you already are to be in that tier. Sorry, party's over, I guess. Join the pro league. Join a tournament. So here we go. This is part 2 of what's exciting about the pick and ban at gold. So currently, the score you earn per competitive match is determined by both the outcome and your individual performance. So it's not just whether you win or lose. Your performance does matter. However, after season 2 launches, we will be increasing the weight of individual performances. The better you perform, the more points you will earn in victory, and the fewer points you will lose in defeat.
Yeah,
thank you,
so
Marvel Rivals devs.
Bronze, Silver, Purgatory is you can't. I mean, here's the downside of this: if we still find ourselves in Bronze and Silver,
don't say it.
We have no excuse now.
Don't say it.
But I don't think that that's likely.
No, it's not. And we both talked about this, that like bronze was a freaking nightmare just because you're rolling the dice every single game with what's going to happen. But once we got out of there, we climbed pretty quickly. I had much less time to play in the last section of the season, so I didn't get to see how high I could climb. But I think now we'll have a better chance to do this. I am curious. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, before we get the comments from people up in Eternity saying, no, the answer is just get good. You have to carry your games to get out of bronze. It doesn't matter if your team is bad. That is true if you're at the level that you deserve to be in Eternity. But if you're at the level where you deserve to be in platinum, you might not be able to carry your game when your entire team is throwing in bronze.
Right.
Like you're not that good to be able to climb out of that. So it does the elo hell thing definitely is real when you're middling in your ability as a player.
Right. Yeah, you may be able to carry going 60-0 as Spider-Man in silver and gold, but in bronze, when you get 6 insta-locked duelists and nobody wants to shift, good luck. But this makes me wonder, like, how do they calculate what is going into your personal, points that they're giving you? It can't just be, going back to our scoreboard main topic, like it can't just be what's on the scoreboard, right? Like, right. I hope there's more that's done there.
That is also a mystery we'll never find out.
I know.
Because those are like closely guarded trade secrets for every game.
Yeah.
They always hide those.
And I'm sure it's one of those things too that like we all accept it, but if you were to lift the curtain, you know that there would be people that's like, oh, wait, what? It's about this? Like, why don't you track that? But I did this. Like,
exactly. Well, that's part of it. And then you also probably could find a way to game the system if you found out exactly what it is.
Right.
I'm just going to play sweaty DPS and try to get as many kills as possible, even if we lose, because all
Yeah.
it's tracking is kills or whatever.
Yeah. That's probably an even more important reason. A fun little thing. I would love for this to mean that since there's a greater weight on your personal performance, that if you are an let me be careful. If you are intentionally throwing, there, let me say it like that. If you are intentionally throwing, I would love to see this mean that even if your team carries your sorry butt to the finish line and you win, I would love to see you still lose points for trash talking and throwing the whole
I would
game.
love to see that too, but I think based on how they
Alas.
worded it, that's not going to be the case. They
No, but
specifically pointed out you earn more when you win and you lose
yeah, yeah,
less
yeah.
when you're
One can dream.
yeah.
Well, the last point about ranked is the map pool. So we're getting a little bit of a rotation with Hellfire Gala, Krakoa coming in. That's going to enter the competitive map pool, and Yggsgard, the Royal Palace, and Tokyo 2099 Shin Shibuya will be retired from ranked play. And that includes the tournament mode as well. So tournament's going to follow the rules of ranked. Now, the good thing is quick match and custom games will still feature all maps without a rotation like this. That's a huge, huge win for me. In games like this, like new maps are a huge source of longevity and to fight off that stagnation, introduce freshness. So I'm so glad. I hope that this stays forever. I know a lot of the games that do rotations, I have heard there's like back end reasons why they do them from like a server side, that they can't like host all of the maps. I hope that the Rivals devs have already planned out for that, because I would love to like see less. We already have many times where we'll play a game, we'll queue up and be like, oh, deja vu.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I'd love to see less of that happen. So that's cool.
Yeah. Last thing that they had in the rank thing that I just wanted to include for a quick comment
Oh, right,
is
right.
they had a chart that they threw up. It's great whenever we see real numbers from them. They had a chart they threw up of the season 1 player distribution across ranks. And the reason why this is important, and I think the reason why they did it, is because there was a huge conversation in the last month or so about from a lot of high level players about there being rank inflation in this game, and it's way too easy to rank up and then be really bad. And they doubled down on it by having your individual performance be tracked more, so you can't just get carried by your team winning all the time. But what's really good about this is that they showed the rank distribution for all the players across ranks, and the vast majority are pretty evenly split between silver and diamond. There's a big amount in bronze, but not nearly as much as silver and gold. And then it drops off a cliff when you get to Grandmaster, Celestial, and Eternity, one above all, like you would expect.
Right.
What they're showing is that this is a pretty normal distribution curve for games that have ranks like this. This is about what you would see in Overwatch and other similar games. So I think they were kind of taking a shot saying like, hey, we know you guys keep saying that we're making everyone feel like they're better than they are. But if you look at this is a very normal rank distribution. It's fine,
Yep.
So
yeah, I think that's really cool, and I know I've thrown some shade about my ranked partners that I've played with in my solo climb, but yeah, it's something that in every competitive game, like I do it semi jokingly, but getting just like a gut check is a really good thing for the player base in general, to be like, okay, like maybe I need to work on myself,
Yeah.
So I think this was like one of the classiest ways that they could have possibly done that, which is cool.
They didn't call anyone out. They just showed, hey, here's where the player base is at.
Yep.
So our last segment on all of the news of season 2 is the patch notes actually dropped the day that we're recording this, and so we have some general changes that were in the patch notes, but we're not
general changes.
General changes. So I filtered this down to just the things that they hadn't mentioned anywhere else. So here we go. So first thing they say is they optimize the settlement logic for substitute players in quick match battles. And they say victories will count normally, while losses will not affect combat history or the scoreboard.
Now, Nick, what does that mean? This isn't a 4X game. I'm not building settlements here.
Yeah. So this is awesome. There have been a lot of complaints and very valid complaints that when you're playing quick play as a solo queue, a lot of times it'll throw you into a game where someone left in the last 20 seconds because their team was losing. And then
Yeah.
it'll saddle you with a loss
Hmm.
for a game that you were in all of 20 seconds of in overtime when you joined it, right? I had
Bummer.
one where I didn't even load into the map. And I
Oh
started loading into the
no.
map, and then all of a sudden saw the defeat screen was the first thing I
Oh
saw,
no.
and I got a loss for it.
That's
That won't happen
awful.
anymore.
Yeah.
So they were really fair here. They're saying if you come into a game like that, if you come into a game in the middle at all and you win, we'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You helped. If you lose, we'll just pretend it didn't happen.
Yep.
So I
Scrubbed.
like that. I like that a lot. The next thing they got, the career overview page now supports the selection of specific hero forms. This is the one I have no idea what this means.
Yeah. Huh.
And maybe it means that you can look at cloak stats, and dagger stats separately,
Oh.
and like diamond form and regular form stats separately. I'm not sure. That makes
If
sense to
that
me.
was specifically, that means that they are definitely planning on doing like quite a few more of
Form switches, yeah,
forms, right? Huh.
yeah.
Interesting.
But
It's gotta,
I
huh.
don't know.
Anyway.
But we'll find out as soon as
Yeah.
we load up the game. We can go to the career page and see what's going
Yeah.
on there.
Very interesting.
Um, Next one, rank leaderboard display has been added to career. So if you're really, really good, congrats. You can see it in your career page. Uh, Real-time voice chat has been optimized. Interface prompt now appears when you activate voice chat using push to talk. This is great. There
Yeah.
was no visual
Hmm.
feedback when you used push to talk before, and it just
Yeah.
stopped me from trying because I was like always going in and being like, "Can you hear me? Do you hear me?" So I
Well, when you use that voice, nobody's gonna respond.
yeah. So being able to see that you're talking is generally a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, all right, next one. In custom games, spectators can now temporarily exit during matches, enabling them to rejoin the action anytime. That's awesome. You can spectate your friends and leave and come back. Great. They're also adding an ability to transfer hosts in the middle of a custom game, which is cool. If your friend has to leave, your game doesn't end. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Um, this one. All right. Everyone rejoice. We've introduced an experimental feature, Switch Shader Compilation Mode.
Yeah.
When activated, shaders will only compile the first time you launch the game after a new version or graphics driver update. This feature can significantly reduce memory usage and minimize in-game stuttering, especially on systems with 16 gigabytes of RAM or less. The thing that they don't say this is going to do, which is the thing everyone actually cares about, is hopefully we're not going to have to sit and watch our shaders compile for 10 minutes every time we boot the game up. Woo!
Just upgrade your PC, bro.
Yeah, I have a pretty good one. It doesn't
Yeah,
change the
no.
fact that the shader compiling takes forever.
No, 100%.
Um, yeah, and then they have some other like caveats and stuff. If you have a CPU with AMD FSR3 frame generation something,
Yeah.
then you probably know enough about your computer that you're gonna want to look at this anyway. So go look.
Our dynamic is so funny because you know so much more about software and I know so much more about hardware
Yeah,
when it comes
100%.
to PC stuff. So yeah, FSR3 is like the frame generation stuff. So it's the AI technology on AMD chipsets. So it definitely, if you're using one of those things, you're probably going to have some trouble because you're putting a much higher load on your CPU with this.
So then you just don't want to turn this feature on if that's what you're using, is what they're
Yeah,
saying.
but the thing is, a lot of people use these with like lower end PCs that wouldn't naturally be able to achieve the frame rates they're looking for. So I wonder, experimental feature shader compilation is there for a reason, and like a lot of modern games, you'll get shader compilation. I'm so curious, like, what are they doing in the back end to make you not have to? I
Well, I think
wonder
they're
if this
just
will be.
storing it. Like they're storing it unless because what they're saying is
Yeah, I guess
you
because
don't
of
have
the
to do it
16
unless
gigs.
there's an update or a graphics driver update.
Oh
So it
yeah.
sounds like they're
Huh.
storing it locally rather than
Why wouldn't
generating it
they
every
in
time.
general, I guess is my question.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, apparently it might cause in-game stuttering
Yeah, yeah.
on systems with 16 gigabyte of RAM or less.
Right,
But
right. Which,
they're willing to try it.
yeah. Also, dang, like 16 gigabytes of RAM is the new minimum benchmark, huh? That's
At least
what
for this.
what wild times we live in.
Yeah. They also mentioned they added support for AMD FSR 4. Um, and then here's a big one for all of you controller and console players.
Yes.
Dead zone settings. They're
Holy
adding
crap.
dead zone settings for quite a few different things that you can tweak on that.
Yeah, this is so big. As a controller main for the past couple decades, one of the most frustrating things to do in any kind of game is adjust your controller settings because there's no through line, there's no universalization of what controller settings are from game to game. So dead zones is a huge one when it comes to responsiveness of the control. You want to, for all of you non-controller players, basically what that means is when you tilt your controller, what is the smallest increment that you have to move to actually receive an input on the other side. So by lowering your dead zones, you get sharper precision. And this is really important in a game like this where a lot of abilities require very sharp precision. So a big win for the controller players.
Nice. Yeah, and then they have, a bunch of general fixes and hero-specific bug fixes. The one I want to point out is because this was essentially a shadow nerf that Captain America had for like half a season by having this bug, and they fixed it. So Captain America had an issue where he couldn't block things with his shield or ricochet enemy projectiles while moving backwards. No, sorry, not block things, but ricochet enemy projectiles while moving backwards. So now, while you're walking backwards, you can still deflect projectiles, which means you won't die because you decide to back up.
Yeah. Now, just trying to protect everybody, and you just absolutely eat a maximum pulse from Iron Man.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a huge,
that's a huge win
problem.
for Cap mains.
Yeah.
And just to wrap it up, we have my favorite fuzzy feeling note to see in there. They fixed terrain issues that could cause characters to become stuck or clip through odd locations.
Hearing that is like
I feel safe.
Having a cup of hot cocoa and a nice fuzzy blanket on a cold, rainy day. Thanks for reading that off, Nick.
Yep.
Well, listeners, it's been a wonderful episode 10. We hope you have enjoyed the season 2 content that we've brought to you today, and we'll continue in our episode next week. Of course, if you'd like even more of our Friends and Rivals content, you can consider joining us over on Instagram at Friends and Rivals, on X at Friend Rival Pod, or on Discord via the link in the show notes. And if you've got a question you'd like us to answer in our next episode or a future episode, drop it in our Discord chat or in the comments on Spotify for this episode, or send it directly to our Gmail. All right, we will see you in the multiverse.
See ya.